Come on in. This is our schoolroom. And this is where you will learn to read and to write and to do arithmetic. We're going to start with reading, and today is your very first lesson. And very soon, you will be able to sing this song.
I can really, 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 really read. There's no limit to the life that I can lead.
I can be a pirate like Captain Kidd.
Fall into a wonderland as Alice did.
I can go exploring with Daniel Boone.
Be with the astronaut who shoots to the moon. I can find all kinds of pleasure, yes indeed.
I can really, really,
Really, really.
really, really,
Really, really.
Really, 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 really read.
Let's look at this picture. It's the picture of a man. Now look at the word printed underneath the picture. The word says man. The word says the same thing the picture says, man. The printed word doesn't look like a man. It's a picture of the sounds you hear when you say the word man. And that's what words are, pictures of sounds we make when we talk. These pictures are called letters, and each letter stands for a different sound. And all the letters together are called the alphabet. And right now we're going to learn 2 letters. Now you know what this is, don't you? It's an apple. What's the sound you hear at the beginning of the apple? Apple. Do you hear the a? The letter that makes that a sound is the letter A. A says a as in apple. And what's this? An elephant, right. What do we hear when we say elephant? Elephant. That's the sound of the letter E. The letter E says as in elephant. Now listen to our song about A and E.
The clue to A is in the apple.
apple, apple.
The clue to E is in the elephant.
Elephant. Elephant.
So, on our first lesson, we've learned 2 letters. And in just a moment, we'll get back to the most important part of our lesson, your homework for today. Now, here's your homework for today. Ask your mother for a magazine or newspaper and a crayon. And then find as many A's and E's as you can and circle each of them neatly with your crayon, saying the sound of each letter as you use the crayon. Like so. A says a, and here's an E, eh. That's all for today. See you tomorrow. We'll make up our first words and learn more letters. Goodbye. Hello. Remember our friends A and E from yesterday? Well, today we're going to learn the sounds of more letters, 3 more. Now, you know who this is, don't you? Of course, an Indian. And what is the sound you hear at the beginning of the word Indian? I, Indian. I is the sound of the letter I, as in Indian. Now, here's something you play with in your yards or at the park. And what sound do you hear when you say seesaw? S. It's the letter S that makes the S in seesaw. And you know that this is a lion. And what sound do you hear at the beginning of lion? Oh. And the letter that makes the sound of O is L. So let's go over the letters we've learned so far with this little song. Ready?
The clue to A is in the apple.
Apple, apple.
The clue to E is in the elephant.
Elephant. Elephant.
The clue to I is in the Indian.
Indian.
In apple, elephant, and Indian.
Begin the word to find the clue. The clue to S is in the seesaw.
Seesaw, seesaw.
The clue to L is in the lion.
Lion, lion.
Now we know 5 letters, and we can make our first words just by putting together the sounds we already know. Now we know that the letter A says A, as in apple. Now what is our next letter? Well, it's S. Now S, when it is at the end of the word, sometimes changes its sound just a little bit. So when we put the sounds together, we hear as. Say them with me. As. And that's our first word. So let's use it. For instance, I am as hungry as I can be. Now let's take away the letter A, and in its place we will put the letter I. And remember, I says I as in Indian, and again the S is at the end of the word. Now we'll say them together. Is. And our word is. And you can read it because you know what sounds the letters make and what they look like. And I'll be back in just a minute to tell you about some more homework. For today's homework, let's use the same papers you used yesterday, only this time circle the new letters I, S, and L. And as you circle the letters on the papers, say the sounds for each one. I, S, L, O. That's the end of our work for today. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello. Today we're going to learn 4 more letters and, of course, the clues to them. Do you know the name of this flower? It's a daisy. And the sound you hear at the beginning is D. Daisy. That is the sound of the letter D. Our next clue is in fire. F, as in fire. F is the sound of the letter F. The clue to F is in the fire. And here we have a rainbow. And the clue to the letter R is in the rainbow. Rainbow. Our last clue is in the table. At the start of table is the sound of the letter T. T. Now, let's do our clue song, and we'll go over all the letters we've learned so far, names and their sounds, as we listen.
The clue to A is in the apple.
Apple, apple.
The clue to E is in the elephant.
Elephant. Elephant.
The clue to I is in the Indian.
Indian.
In apple, elephant, and Indian.
Begin the word to find the clue. The clue to S is in the seesaw.
Seesaw, seesaw.
The clue to L is in the lion.
Lion. Lion.
The clue to D is in the daisy.
Daisy.
In seesaw, lion, and in daisy.
Just say the word to find the clue. The clue to F is in the fire.
Fire, fire.
The clue to R is in the rainbow.
Rainbow. Rainbow.
The clue to T is in the table.
Table.
Now use these clues and you'll be able to see the letters and say the sounds you know. And I'll be back in just a minute to tell you about your homework. Reading and words are all around us. Now, you've been finding the letters, you know, in the newspapers, so you know that's one important place where words are used. Can you think of some others? See how many things around the house that you can find that use words or letters, and then make a kind of little list of them in your mind and remember them, and tomorrow we'll talk about them. See you then. Hello. Remember yesterday for your homework I asked you to think of some of the places where you see words and letters? What did you think of? Magazines, cereal boxes, signs on the street, books on the shelf, comic books, television? Well, remember just a moment ago you saw... Do you know what it says? With your teacher, Fran Allison. So you see, words and letters are everywhere. Now, altogether, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. I know that sounds like a lot, but you've already learned 9 of them, and they're circled. And they come in 2 sizes. Big ones we call capital letters, and the small ones we call small letters. And now that you know the clues to 9 letters, let's paste them up on our ABC decoder chart and see if you can follow along with me as I paste them up. Well, where should we start? Where do you think? Did you guess? A. The clue to A is in the apple. The clue to E is in the elephant. The clue to I is in the Indian. The clue to S is in the seesaw. The clue to T is in the table. Now, where do you think we go? Did you guess daisy? Because the clue to D is in the daisy. The clue to F is in the fire. The clue to L is in the lion. The clue to R is in the rainbow. Now we know enough letters to make up quite a few words, words that you already have been using, and you'll recognize them right away when you hear them. So let's start with the letter A, and we know that it sounds A. And then when we add the letter T with its sound of T, we have at. We are at school. Then we can build another word by adding on more letters. If we put the letter S with its sound of S in front of at, we get sat. I sat down. We can start again with at. And if we put the letter F with its sound of F before at, we have F at, fat. And now look what we can do with our friend fat. If we just move F over a little bit, add another old friend with its sound of O, L, O, at. We have another word, flat, flat. And that's the way we read words. Isn't it fun? And in just a moment for your homework, I'm going to tell you how you can start to play this game of making words all by yourself. So you can play at making words the way we do every day here in your schoolroom. First, why don't you cut out your own letters? You can find letters in newspapers or magazines. Find large ones. Cut them out. You might like to paste them on a cardboard, like this. See if you can make a few right away. And then put them together like this to make words. See you tomorrow when we're going to read your very first book together and meet a new friend, Alfred. Goodbye. Hello. This is the last part of your first reading lesson, and it's a good time to find out how much you've learned. You've learned 9 letters, you've learned their names and their sounds, and we remember their sounds by the clues. Remember A, as in the first sound we hear when we say apple. E, elephant. I, Indian. S, seesaw. L, lion. D, daisy. F, fire. R, rainbow. T, table. You really learned enough letters to read your first book. It's called who, and that's another new word for you. This is how it looks. Who. Now let's find out what's on the first page of our story. Who is it? Is it red? Is it fat? Is it flat? Is it as flat as it is fat? If it is flat, if it is fat, if it is red, it is Alfred. And now I'd like you to meet our new friend in person. This is Alfred. He is our fat, flat, red Alfred. And he'll be here every day from now on to help you learn to read. Now, let's see if you can read your first book with me. Try. That's always the best way. Try. Ready? Who is it? Is it red? Is it fat? Is it flat? Is it as flat as it is fat? If it is flat, if it is fat, if it is red, it's Alfred. Well, you've just read your first book and met Alfred. You'll meet all kinds of wonderful people in books, make new friends, learn new things to do, and in just a few moments I'll come back to tell you what we'll be doing next week in our second reading lesson, and I'll give you your homework assignment. For your homework, why don't you make letter cards the way I showed you yesterday? If you can, you cut out large letters from newspapers or magazines, paste them on a cardboard, and then cut the cardboard into little squares. Over the weekend, cut out each of the 9 letters we've learned this week. A, E, I, S, L, D, F, R, and T. And next week, we'll play some games with them. See you Monday with our second reading lesson. Goodbye now. Hello. Today we start our second reading lesson with 3 letters you've already learned. Look, Alfred is holding them for us. Thank you, Alfred. Now say them with me. A with the sound of A, E with the sound of E, and I with the sound of I. Remember, A, apple, E, elephant, and I, Indian. Oh, Alfred, I see you have 2 new letters. Well, let's find out about them. The name of this first new letter is O. It makes the sound of A, as in ox. That's another name for a kind of cow. And this is the letter U, which makes the sound of A, which we hear at the start of the word umbrella. These 5 letters belong to a special group called vowels, and they are the hardest working letters in the alphabet. There's at least 1 vowel in almost every word, and sometimes more than 1. How many vowels are there in your name? If you don't know, ask your mother or father to tell you. Now let's learn these important vowels with our song.
A is a, as in apple.
He's the elephant in the zoo.
I's the I in Indian.
And O's the I in ox.
And the in umbrella is the U.
It's true,
That
it's just another way of saying A-E-I-O-U.
Well, when you learn all these vowels, you will be as wise as an owl, a vowel owl. Let's see if you are. All right. E, elephant. I, Indian. U, umbrella. A, apple. O, that funny animal, the ox. And I'll be back right away to tell you about your homework. You have 2 new letters now, O and U. So make up your own letter cards and be sure to say them over and over to yourself as you're looking for them in a magazine or a comic book, because they have words too. The letter O with its sound of ah, and the letter U with its sound of Well, that's all for now. Oh, Alfred is waving goodbye. Goodbye, Alfred. Goodbye. It's school time again, your second reading lesson. And today we're going to learn 4 more new letters. And with them, you'll be able to make so many, many words. You know, reading a word is something like solving a mystery. The clues are the sounds the letters make, and when you put the sounds together, they make words. And I see Alfred has our new letters. Well, thank you again, Alfred. You know, at the end of this week's lesson, you'll be reading another book about Alfred, and you'll be using the new letters you're learning now, along with the ones that you learned in our first lesson last week. Today's new letters are B with the sound of B as in basket, P with the sound of P as in pale, and M with the sound of as in moonlight, and this is an N with the sound of as in nail. And we have a song to help us practice.
The B is the first sound in basket.
Basket.
The P is the first sound in pale.
Pale.
M, moonlight.
N, nail.
Let's say them again. And this time, see if you can say them before I do. B sounds B as in basket. P, P, pale. M, moonlight. N, nail. Did you say them before I could? Good. Now let's see if we can make some more words. And we'll be using some of the letters we learned last week. Now, one thing you'll see right away is how just one letter can change the sound of a word. For instance, let's take P-an. That's a pan. But if we change the vowel and put in E with its different sound of eh, we'll have a P-n, or a pen. And another change to an I sounding I, and then we have P-in, or pin. There's a big difference between a pan, a pen, and a pin, and it's those little vowels that make the difference. And in just a moment, I'll tell you about your homework, and I think Alfred will have a surprise for you. Alfred's surprise is a poem, and every word is made with letters you know. See if you can read it. Rub-a-dub-dub, 10 men sat in a tub. See you tomorrow. All set to learn more letters? I'll bet you can guess who has them. And if you guessed Alfred, You're right. Today's letters are H, W, and Y. Now, you go over them with me when we do the song, and we'll be reviewing the letters we learned yesterday, too. It's good practice.
The B is the first sound in basket.
Basket.
The P is the first sound in pail.
Pail.
M, moonlight.
and nail.
The H is the first sound in hammer.
Hammer.
W says W as in well.
Well, the letter Y starts the yarn, the yarn. Now you know what these letters all tell.
So you do them with me. B, basket. P, pail. M, moonlight. N, nail. H, hammer. W, well. Y, yarn. Now we can make even more words. So let's go over here to the blackboard. It's really green, but we still call it a blackboard. And let's see how we build words. We'll start with an A, and add N. Sound of N is N, and together they say an. I would like an apple, wouldn't you? Now let's add a D on the end. The word now says and or and. I would like an apple and an orange. Now if we put an H, in front of and, we have made the word and, hand. Here's my hand. And if we change the H to a B, it becomes B and band. Then when we change the first letter to an S, it becomes sand, sand. And now look, if we put a T right here after the S, we have made the word st and stand. You can stand there, and I'll stand here. We can make lots more words and get ready for a new game, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Have you made some of your own letter cards yet? Why not try to? It's fun. And then tomorrow, we'll play a game called Super Duper Word Hunt. Try to make all the letters you've learned so far. Just cut them out of an old magazine. You can even paste them on cardboard if you want to. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Do you have your own letter cards? Well, now remember the letters are, and you say them with me, A, E, I, S, F, R, T, D, L, O, and O, U, B, P, M, N, and H, W, Y. And do you know that we haven't had time to put up the rest of our clues on the ABC decoder chart? So let's do that now. And you see if you can say the name and the sound of each letter of the word at the beginning as I paste up the clue pictures. All right? Basket, B, nail, N, ox, O, umbrella, U, yarn, Y. Now what do you think comes next? Here it is. Hammer, H, Moonlight. M. Pale. P. P. Well. W. W. Now, as you can see, the chart is almost filled. So far, you've learned 18 letters. Now, that's almost the whole alphabet. There are only a few left for you to learn. And now, we have enough letters to play our super-duper word hunt game. Now, first, we mix up all our letter cards, turn them face down, and now I'm going to pick 4 cards, and let's see what I have. Well, first, here's an N, and here's an L, and here's a D, and now I need a vowel. Let me an A. Well, here we add them. There's no such a word. Let me see what I can do. Now, maybe let's move the L over here, and I have no, I could take the N out. Well, good, I've made a word, and I can make another, because if I move the D and put in the N, I have and another word. Now, if you make your own letter cards, you can play this game at home by yourself or with friends. I wish we could play more now, but that's all for today, and I'm going to tell you a little more about our homework. Your homework's easy today. Just play the super-duper word hunt game, cut out some letters, mix them up, and see how many words you can make. Goodbye. Hello, this is the last part of your reading lesson 2, and I see Alfred has his Sherlock Holmes detective hat on, and he has his spyglass, and I think he's trying to remind us about our spy words. Now, we call them spies because they don't sound the way they look, and Alfred's going to show them. Now, let's see if we can unmask them. Now, our first spy is who. Now, you remember that word. That's the name of the first Alfred book. And who rhymes with shoe. Shoe, who. Our next spy is where. And that's the name of our book for this lesson. See? Where rhymes with chair. Where, chair. This spy is are. Are you watching me? R rhymes with star. R, star. Our last spy for today is you. Where are you? You also rhymes with shoe. Shoe, who. Spy words are very important, as you will see when we read our book. So let's repeat them again. Who, shoe. Where, chair. Are, star. You, shoe. Now let's read our book for today. You read it with me, and I'll go slowly so we'll be able to do it together. Now this book is called Where, and here we go. Where are you, Alfred? Are you in bed? Are you up in a nest? Did you slip under a mop? If you are not in bed and not up in a nest and not under a mop, where are you? Where? Where? Is it you at last? Yes, it is you, Alfred. And that's Alfred's latest adventure. We'll read more Alfred books in later lessons. Alfred gets around quite a bit. And in a moment, I'll be back with a good homework idea for you. Would you like to start to make your own book? It's easy. First, get an old magazine and cut out everything you see whose name begins with an A, a B, and a D, and so on with all the letters you've already learned. Now, paste the pictures for each letter on a plain piece of paper and keep them together. Now, see how many pictures you can find over the weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Goodbye. Hello. This is the beginning of our third reading lesson. Now, we're going to be working with some old friends today. See what Alfred is holding? They are the vowels A, E, I, O, and U. And we know their sounds, don't we? A, apple. E, elephant. I, Indian. O, ox. And U, umbrella. But sometimes a vowel can have a different sound. And here are some new picture clues for A, E, and I. Now, you see, there are new clues to a new sound for the vowels. For A, it's the sound you hear at the beginning of apron, A. The new sound for E is E as in eagle. And I can say I as in ice. Now look and listen. The vowels are saying their own names. A, apron, E, eagle, I, ice. Now when the vowels say their own names, they are called the long vowels. The first vowel sounds you learned, A, E, and are the short vowels. To help remember, here's a song, and you follow along with me as we practice both vowel sounds.
The vowel may be short, or say its own name. Whatever the sound, the letter's the same.
In apple and apron, what do you say? A. Apple and apron begin with an A. In elephant and eagle, what do you see? E. Elephant and eagle begin with an E. In Indian and ice, what do you try? I. Indian and ice both begin with an I.
Now, since these different vowel sounds are so important, let's practice them. You follow me and see if you can say the two sounds for each vowel before I can. The letter A, apple, A, apron. The letter E, elephant, and E, eagle. The letter I says Indian, and I, ice. We'll be getting ready to play another game, and I'll be back in just a moment to give you your homework. Tomorrow, we'll be playing a game, and we'll need picture cards for each of the vowels. Now, see if you can find pictures of an apple, apron, an elephant, an eagle, an Indian, and ice. Now, cut them out and paste them on cards just as you did with your letter cards. And if you can't find pictures in a magazine, you might be able to draw them. We'll learn the rest of our long vowels tomorrow and play our new game called Lineup. So see you then. Goodbye. Hello. This is the second part of our reading lesson 3. Are you all ready for some more long vowels? You remember we learned about the difference between the long and the short vowel sounds, and that the long vowels say their own names. Yesterday we learned that A can say A as in apron. E can say E as in eagle, and I can say I as in ice. Now today we are adding O, and O can say O as in ocean, and U can say U as in uniform. Now here are all the vowels lined up with their short and long sound clues. Let's listen to the song, and you follow and see if you can give the sounds before we do.
The vowel may be short, or say its own name. Whatever the sound, the letter's the same.
In apple and apron, what do you say? A. Apple and apron begin with an A. In elephant and eagle, what do you see? E. Elephant and eagle begin with an E. In Indian and ice, what do you try? I. Indian and ice both begin with an I. In ocean and ox, what do you know? Ocean and ox both begin with an O. Umbrella and uniform, what do you do? U. Umbrella and uniform begin with a U.
The vowel may be short, or say its own name. Whatever the sound, the letter's the same.
Now, here's a game we can play with our letter cards and our picture clue cards. Now, let's line our letter cards like this: A, E, I, O, and U. Now, your picture cards, put them face down, and to be really fair, close your eyes and draw one. Now, let's see what we have. Uniform. Uniform. So where does it go? Under the U, of course. Let's draw one more. And what do we have? Ice. Where shall we put it? Under the I. A fast one. O, ocean. And where does it go? Under the O. Play the game at home, and I'll be back in just a few minutes to give you your homework. Now, if you'd like to play our game lineup, all you have to do is make 4 more picture clue cards: an ox, an ocean, an umbrella, and a uniform. Now, I know some of these might be hard to find a picture of, but see if you can draw them, or maybe your mother or father can help you, and see how many picture clue cards you can line up with those hard-working vowels. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello. This is the third part of reading lesson 3, and we're learning about the long and short vowels, and I'll bet you're wondering how you know when you see a vowel in a word when you should say the short sound and when you should say the long sound. Let's see how it works. Now, here we have an A and a T, and you know when we put them together they say at, and you know the vowel sound here is short, at. Now, when we put an F in front and the word is fat, we still hear a short sound. So we already know one rule for short vowel sounds.
When there's one vowel in the word beginning or the middle, the vowel sound is short, the vowel sound is little.
So, in the beginning or the middle, when there is only one vowel, the vowel sound is short. Now, let's see what happens when the vowel comes at the end. See here, M and E. The word is me. And here we can hear the long vowel sound, E, me. So the rest of our song goes.
But if one vowel in a word comes at the end, then the vowel sound is long, my friend.
Now, some words end with 2 E's, such as bee. A bee makes honey. And see the honeybee. And you always give those 2 E's the long vowel sound. Now, let's find out something else about vowels. Remember, we made fat when we were talking about short vowels. Now, you know the sound that A makes in fat. Well, let's change this T to an R. All right, and we have another word, F-A-R, and it ends in R. Let's try saying it. F-air, f-air. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But if we say far, Is it very far? We know right away it makes sense, and it's a word. When the letter R comes after a short vowel, it changes the sound of that vowel just a little bit. So when you see the letter R after a short vowel, try saying it in many ways until it sounds right to you. Now let's listen to our song again to remember the rules for the long and short vowels.
When there's one vowel in the word beginning or the middle, the vowel sound is short, the vowel sound is little.
But if one vowel in a word comes at the end, then the vowel sound is long. My friend.
And in just a few moments, I'll be back with some very important homework for you. Now that you know the difference between the long and short vowels, look for them in an old magazine or a newspaper. Get a crayon and circle the long vowels at the ends of words on one page. Then turn to a new page and circle all the short vowels and the short one-vowel words we've learned. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello. This is the fourth part of reading lesson 3. And Alfred just reminded me that we haven't put up our long vowel picture clues on our ABC decoder. So let's do that now. You remember the long vowels? They say their own names. Well, that's easy to remember. The first one is A, and we paste up the clue, apron. And then there is E, and for that one, it is eagle. And you know that one. I, and the clue is ice. And for O, the long O, and its clue is ocean. And the last one, U, and its clue is uniform. Now, let's review the short vowel sounds. Remember, A, apple, and E, elephant, and I, Indian, and O, ox, and U, umbrella. Now let's see how the long and short vowels work when we build words. Now, here is a word, B-E, and the vowel E is at the end of the word, so we know that it has the long sound, and our word is be. Be on time for our lesson. And then if we add a T, the vowel gets short because it's in the middle of the word. And so it says bet or bet. I'll bet you can. And here's another example, W and E. And again, the E is at the end. And so our word becomes we. We will go to the store. And then we add a T, and here is the E in the middle, so it has the short sound, and the word is wet. Don't get wet in the puddle. Even when we change the T to a B, the E is still in the middle, and the word becomes web. The spider spins a web. The vowel E is still short because it's in the middle. So you see how you can build and change words every time you add another letter or change one. You get a different word and sometimes a different sound. Now let's see if I can remember our song. When there's one vowel in a word beginning or the middle, the vowel sound is short, the vowel sound is little. But if one vowel in the word comes at the end, then the vowel sound is long. My friend, and I'll be back in a minute to tell you about your homework. Now that you know about the long and short vowels, try to find some extra ones. Remember, the vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Cut them out of a magazine and paste them on a card. And tomorrow we'll read another book about Alfred, so see you then. Goodbye. Today's Friday and the last part of reading lesson 3. And that's the day Alfred gives us his secret spy words. Now, you know spy words wear a disguise, and that's why Alfred is carrying his spyglass and wearing his detective hat. Now, let's see what the spy words are. And after we learn them, we're going to read the next book about Alfred's adventures. The first spy word is when. And that just happens to be the name of our book for today. And when rhymes with pen. The next spy word is come. Come into the house. And come rhymes with thumb. And this one is some. Some. Please give me some. And some rhymes with thumb. And our last spy word is said. I said I'd be there. And said rhymes with bed. And here they are all together, our spy words for today. When, come, some, and said. You ready for our book? When? Well, I'll read it first, and then you read it with me. All right, here we are. When? Alfred, are you up yet? I see you, Alfred. You are still in bed. When, Alfred? When will you be up? Come on, Alfred. Come on, I said. I said up. Alfred, where are you? Alfred? Alfred, you are up. Now, you see if you can read it with me. Are you ready? When? Alfred, are you up yet? I see you, Alfred. You are still in bed. When, Alfred? When will you be up? Come on, Alfred. Come on, Alfred, I said. I said up. Alfred, where are you? Alfred? Alfred, you are up. Well, that's Alfred, one step ahead of us. And I'll be telling you about your homework for the weekend in just a very few moments. For homework this weekend, why don't you try to be a vowel owl? Put out all your cut-out vowel letters and picture clues face down. Mix them up and try to pick up a matching pair, like this, A with apple or apron. Have fun with your homework. We'll see you on Monday. Goodbye. Hello. We're all ready to start our 4th reading lesson. Did you become a vowel owl for your homework? It's a game, but you can see you learn a lot about the long and short vowels when you play it. What does Alfred have? Well, chalk. I think he wants to remind us to go to the blackboard. I think he knows that we're going to talk about how important the vowel E can be. Now, here we have P-I-N, the word pin. You know, pin the tail on the donkey. But look what happens when we add a little E to the end. The word becomes P-I-N-E, and it says pine. Pine trees stay green all year. On the end of a word, the letter E has no sound of its own. But when it's there, it tells the other vowel to say its own name, to make the long sound. That's why P-I-N says pin, but P-I-N-E says pine. Now, I'm going to take our wheel E and see if I can keep time to the music of a little song. It's tricky, but I'll try to do it. All ready?
P-I-N is pin.
P-I-N-E, pine.
W-I-N is win.
W-I-N-E, wine.
F-I-R is fur.
F-I-R-E, fire.
T-U-B is tub.
T-U-B-E, tube.
And then M-A-T is mat. M-A-T-E, mate. R-O-B is rob. R-O-B-E, robe. There are lots of words that change when you add silent E, and here are more.
M-A-N is man.
M-A-N-E, main.
P-A-N is pan.
P-A-N-E, pain.
D-I-M is dim.
D-I-M-E, dime.
S-P-I-N spin.
S-P-I-N-E, spine.
And we finish with T-A-P is tap. Add an E to it, and you have tape. S-T-A-R, star, becomes stare when you add the E. Now, that went very fast, so let's do it slowly again. Now, we've already done P-I-N and P-I-N-E, pin and pine, and there are so many more that I know you remember, so do it at home, and I'll be back in a few minutes to give you your homework idea. Now for your homework. I'd like you to think about the words we saw today. Remember P-I-N and then P-I-N-E? Get a magazine or a newspaper and see how many words you can find with the silent E on the end. Remember, that's the letter that has no sound of its own but tells the other vowel to say its name. Remember pine and wine. So see what you can find, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Well, this is the second part of our fourth reading lesson. Remember yesterday we sang about the silent E words? Did you find many when you looked for them? Well, now let's look at the blackboard and see what happens to some more three-letter words with one vowel when we add that little silent E to the end. We already have T-A-P, tap, but now let's do it again. T-A-P, and we will add the E. And now we have T-A-P-E, which is tape. Here is R-I-P, which says rip. And let's put an E on the end, and it says R-I-P-E, ripe. Remember the rule, little silent E makes the vowel say its own name, so A says A. And let's look here, little silent E tells I to say its own name, so I says I. E can make a big difference when you're reading. Now, let's just look at this sentence. Here it is. Put the pan on the fire. That makes sense, doesn't it? But now, just for fun, let's move this E and put it here. And now it says, put the pan on the fur. That doesn't make sense at all, does it? Now let's go back here and try some longer words. Here is S-L-I-D, and it says slid. But let's put the E on, and now it says slide, slide. And here's an even longer word, S-T-R-I-P. Do you know what that is? Say it with me. Strip. Let's say it faster. Strip. Please get me a strip of paper. And now if we add an E to this, we have a new word, and it says S-T-R-I-P-E, stripe. The E tells the I to say its own name, and so we have stripe. A skunk has a white stripe down his back. Oh, there are lots of silent E words, and you'll come across so many when you're reading, and you'll know when you see silent E on the end of a word, he's telling you to, the first vowel in the word will say its own name. Listen.
No need to wonder or worry or pretend. You'll know what it will be. You'll know it when you see
that little silent E
on the end.
And I'll be back in a moment to tell you about your homework. Now that you know about the silent E, you can make a lot of 3-letter words into 4-letter words, as we did. Remember? T-A-P, and we added an E, and it became tape. And then there are these words. Oh, you can use your letter cards, and you can have great fun making words of your own. You can even make some of 4-letter words into 5-letter words, as we did. S-L-I-D, slid, into S-L-I-D-E, slide. See what new words you can make by adding E, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello, this is the 3rd part of Reading Lesson 4. And today, Alfred is holding an old friend. Now, instead of a new letter, we're going to be working with Y. That's right. Now, I know that you remember Y and its clue, yarn. You know, some of the letters of the alphabet have more than one sound. And the sound can be different when the letter is in a different place in a word, or when it's next to different letters. Now, our friend Y is really a changeable kind of guy. Sometimes Y is a vowel. When it comes at the end of a word, it's a vowel. Now, here is F-L-Y, fly. And the picture is, of course, a fly. So at the end of a word, when we see a Y, and it's the only vowel in the word, it makes the sound of long I. Fly, fly, fly. Now, there are other times when Y is not the only vowel in a word, but it still comes at the end. Here is a picture of a happy boy. This is the word happy. And you see there is a vowel A in the word, but here is Y at the end. Now remember, it's not the only vowel this time, so we hear the sound of E. You say the whole word with me. Happy, happy. And now the sound of Y is the sound of long E, happy. And here's a song to tell us about Y and the different vowel sounds it has.
The letter Y, a changeable kind of guy. When he's all alone as a vowel in a word, he'll be hollering I. But oh, that Y, a split personality. Sometimes when a vowel is around, then he changes his sound to an E.
That's what happens to Y when it comes at the end of a word. It can change its sound and be a long I or a long E. And in just a minute, I'll tell you about your homework. Here's your homework for today. Remember yesterday we talked about the silent E? Well, since E is such a hard-working letter, why don't you cut out some more large letter E's from the newspaper or a magazine and paste them on cardboard, make letter cards. And since now we know that Y is going to be used as a vowel, why don't you make some more Y letter cards too? Tomorrow we'll have a funny song to help you learn to read. I'll see you then. Goodbye. Hello, this is the 4th part of Reading Lesson 4. We've been learning a lot of new things this week, all about silent E and the 2 sounds Y makes when it's a vowel. And you know no one, not even a grown-up, can remember everything he hears the first time he hears it. So if you're reading and you can't remember something I've told you, well, now there's something that you can always do, and that's try. Try saying the word one way and then another, and I'll bet you'll get it. Our friend Alfred has a word for us to try. Remember yesterday I told you we had a funny song that would help you learn to read, and here it is.
You've got to try a sound, roll it up, roll it down till it makes sense to you. till it sounds good and true. That's just exactly what you should do. Try it fast, try it slow, every way that you know, till you see the way a word should be.
Oh, Yankee Doodle came to town on a dappled P-O-N-Y, P-O-N-Y, dappled pony.
Dappled pony?
It's unknown, I never heard of a dappled pony.
P-O-N-Y says pony.
Yankee Doodle came to town on a dappled pony.
Well, now you knew as soon as you heard pony that it wasn't a real word, didn't you? So when you tried pony, then you knew it was a real word. That's what we mean when we say try. Now let's look at try for just a moment. Earlier, when we were learning how Y can have a long I sound when there's no other vowel in the word, here it is, T-R-Y. It has the long I sound because there is no other vowel in it. Now let's try some more words. Here is D-A-D-D-Y. Now you say it with me. You think it might be day-dee? That's no word. How about da-dee? That's not a word either. How about daddy? That's a word. Of course, we all know that. And the same thing with B-A-B-Y. Try Bobby? No. But baby? Yes. Baby is in his playpen and daddy is watching. And I'll have a good homework idea for you in just a minute. You've learned now how important it is to try different sounds when you're reading words. So look in magazines or the newspaper for short words that end in Y, and then try sounding them out. When you think you've said a real word, put a circle around it. And later, when your mother or father isn't busy, ask them if it is a real word. And if you are saying it right, they'll know. Tomorrow, we'll read our fourth book about Alfred, a most amazing adventure. See you then. Goodbye. Well, it's Friday, the last part of your fourth reading lesson. And it's a special day for Alfred, too. He has on his detective hat, he has his spyglass, and that means that we're going to have some more important spy words. Now, you remember what spy words are, don't you? They're the words that don't sound the way they look. They're in disguise. So let's see our first one for today, and it is what? What? What is it? And it's also the name of Alfred's book. And we unmask what because it rhymes with pot. Pot. All right, now we have another spy word, and it is two. Two. And the clue to two is shoe. Now our next one is almost the same. It is do. Do. What to do. And it too rhymes with shoe. Say them with me, two and do. One more spy word. And it is put. Put. Put it on. And we unmask this because it rhymes with foot. Now we had 4 spy words for today. We had what, to, do, and put. And now we're ready for Alfred's book. Remember, I told you the name was What? All right. What are you up to, Alfred? Are you up to some bad stuff? Did you put paste in Dad's hat? Did you try to hide a tadpole in Mom's bed? My, I see what you are up to. You are up to here on me. Hi, Alfred. Well, that's Alfred. I told you he was always up to something. Now let's read it together. We'll go slowly. All right? You ready? Fine. What are you up to, Alfred? Are you up to some bad stuff? Did you put paste in Dad's hat? Did you try to hide a tadpole in Mom's bed? My, I see what you are up to. You are up to here on me. Hi, Alfred. I'm going to tell you about some homework just a few minutes, so don't go away. You know, it's fun to make up your own picture book. Cut out pictures of things that begin with the letters and sounds that you're learning. Paste all the T things on a plain sheet of paper, or all the D things, and be sure to say the sound of the letter as you're looking for the things. And you can always add to your collection of letter cards. See you on Monday. We're going to learn all the rest of the alphabet and a lot of new words. See you then. Goodbye. Hello, here we are in the first part of reading lesson 5, and today we're going to meet poor little C, and even Alfred gets a sad look on his face when we talk about poor little C. And why is C so sad? Well, as you know, every letter in the alphabet has a sound of its own, and sometimes more than one sound, but poor little C has no sound he can really call his own. And so he has to borrow sounds from 2 other letters, and let's see what that means. Now here is a new friend, the letter K, which makes the sound of K, as in kite. And here's an old friend, the letter S, which makes the sound of S, as in seesaw. Now look, here is poor little C right under K. And what sound does it say? C says K, K, and the word is cup. That's right, I drink my milk from a cup. C says K, as in cup. And that's the very same sound that K says in the word kite, kite. K, K, kite, and C, K, cup. Now look, here is poor little C under the letter S. And what sound does it say here? That's right, cent. If you give me a penny, then I'll have 1 cent. And that's the very same sound that S says in the word seesaw, isn't it? Well, now let's go over here and look on the board, and we will see that C is under K again, and so it has the sound of K, which is most of the time the sound it has. Cat, and can, and cot, and cup. When C sounds like K, which is most of the time, we'll call it the hard C. But whenever the letter C comes before an E or before an I, it will sound like S, and we will call it the soft C. So let's look. Scent, scent. Face, nice, I think you're nice. And city, I live in the city. And here's the rule.
C says K in most of the words you try, but C says S before the E and I.
Well, I guess C isn't so poor after all, because it's in the word cent, and that is a penny. And I'll be back in just a moment with your homework. Here's your homework for today. Do you like to read the comics? Well, you know there are plenty of words in the comics, so why don't you find all the hard C's you can? Now remember, a C will always be a hard C and sound like K unless it comes before an E or an I. So let's find a hard C, and here it is. Come, come, or can't, can't. The soft C will sound like an S if it comes before an E or an I, like nice, nice. Now, when you finish, tell Mommy or Daddy whether the comic has more hard C's or more soft C's. And remember the rule.
C says K in most of the words you try, but C says S before the E and I.
See you tomorrow. Did you do your homework? Have fun finding the hard C's and the soft C's in the comics. Remember our song about poor little C? Let's sing it again, see if your homework was right.
Poor little sea, all alone, no special sound to call its own.
Sometimes it's K like K. Sometimes it's like S. But there's a very simple rule, so you don't have to guess.
Remember, C-A-T, cat, but C-E-N-T, cent. And C-U-P, cup, but C-I-T-Y, city.
C says K in most of the words you try, but C says S before the E and I.
Now, did you make any mistakes? If you did, you can read the comics again today and find out which has the most hard C's and which has the most soft C's. What, Alfred? Oh, Alfred says, what if you didn't make any mistakes? Well, you can read the comics again anyway. Now, today is the second part of our reading lesson 5, and we have a couple of very rich letters, and they're new ones. What was that for, Alfred? Oh, I know, because of our next picture clue. It's a queen, and who ever heard of a poor queen? Now, let's look at the two letters at the beginning of queen. And here they are. The first one is Q, and the next one is U. And they're very close together because you'll see them together so many times in words like queen and quick. And together they make the sound of qu, as in queen, and quick. Alfred, oh, I know, I keep forgetting, of course, quick queen. Well, now we have two more letters that are easy to remember because one of them comes mostly at the end of words, and one of them is at the very end of the alphabet. Now, what is this? It's a box. And what sound do you hear at the end of the word box? The letter X, X. X marks the spot. The clue to X is at the end of box. And you'll find the letter X mostly at the end of words like box. And you all know what this is, don't you? A zebra. And the Z sound at the very last of the word is the sound of Z, the last letter in the alphabet. Look what Alfred has done to help us remember our new letters. He drew a picture of a queen. I keep forgetting, Alfred, the quick queen. And see what else. Alfred has put the zebra in a big box. Thank you, Alfred. I'm sorry we have to stop, but I'll be back in just a moment with your homework. Today we learned the letters Q as in queen, quick queen, Z as in zebra, and X as in box. Now see how many Q's and Z's and X's and C's and K's you can find in the newspaper or a magazine. Cut them out, paste them on cards so you have letter cards to keep, and I'll see you tomorrow. This is the third part of reading lesson 5, and today we're going to meet 3 letters, and when you learn them, you'll have met all the letters of the alphabet. Are you ready? The first letter is J, and it says J as in jar, a jar of jelly. The clue to J is at the beginning of jar and jelly. And the next letter is G, and the clue to G is at the beginning of gun, gun. The last letter is V, V. V is in van. The moving van moved our furniture very quickly. Now let's look at some words with our new letters. Here is J, and it says J as in jar, jelly, jet, jolly, joy, and jug. And here is G, G, gun, go, game, get, give, girl. And here is V, and it says V as in van, very, and V for victory. Do you remember yesterday's letters? Q, queen, quick queen, and Z, zebra, and X, box. Now that we know so many letters and words, let's make up something. Are you ready? Now see if you can read along with me. Here is our hard C, K, and the word is clever. And what's this? F, fox, fox. Another hard C, K, can. And here's our J, jump. Another V, over, over. And Z, lazy. And here's G, dog, dog. Let's read it all now. A clever fox can jump over a lazy dog. I guess a clever fox can jump over a lazy dog, but then again, I guess a clever dog can jump over a lazy fox too. And in a moment, I'll be back for the most important part of your lesson, your homework. Homework. Make letter cards for J, for G, and for V. And now that you know all the letters, why not start your own word book? Now ask Mommy for a notebook or some paper, and you'll need about 3 pages for every finger on both hands. Then at the top of each page, paste on one of your letter cards, a different letter for each letter of the alphabet. And remember, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, and V, W, X, Y, and Z. And every time you find a word that you can read in an old magazine or a newspaper, cut it out and paste it on the page with the letter that's at the beginning of that word, like jar or jelly on the J page. Remember? See you tomorrow. Goodbye. This is the 4th part of Reading Lesson 5, and today we're going to meet some old friends who make special new sounds when they get together. Now let's see what happens when T, C, S, and W get together with H. TH says th, as in thimble, or the, as in them. CH says ch, as in chair. SH says sh, as in ship. And WH says as in wheel. Now let's hear a song about TH, CH, SH, and WH.
This is TH just like in them and those and the in thin. Change to CH and watch how it goes in chin. I'll show you the way that you can say SH, share. Which brings us to the WH, which, what, why, and where.
Here are 2 more old friends that make a special sound together. N and G, the same sound you hear at the end of the word ring or sing.
Please remember one more thing. NG at the end sounds like song or sing.
TH is in them or thimble, CH chair, SH ship, WH wheel, and NG ring and sing. See how many words you can find with these special sounds for today's homework. And since we are learning special sounds today, I'll be back in a moment with a new special spy word. You see what Alfred is wearing? His Sherlock Holmes hat, and he has his spyglass, and that means that he has a special spy word for us. So don't go away, Alfred, and we'll be back in just a minute. But first, let's just hear these sounds again. TH, th, CH, ch, SH, sh, WH, and NG, ring and sing. Now for our spy word today. He's a special spy. There's no picture clue this time because you know all the letters. All you have to do is just remember that he wears a silent E for a disguise. And here he is, H, A, V, and that silent E. And you unmask him by reading him as if the silent E weren't there at all. Have. I have to go now. See you tomorrow. It's Alfred Day again. Goodbye. Welcome to Alfred Day. Today is the day we read another book about Alfred. Our Alfred story is called, well, you read it, W-H-Y. Remember the sound our old friend W makes when it gets together with H? Wh, just as though you were blowing. Wh, that's right, wh, as in wheel. And remember the sound Y makes? Now let's try it. Whee? Doesn't sound right, does it? How about why? That's right. And here's our book. Why? Why have you left home, Alfred? Why are you sitting up in that tree? Do you think you are a bird? Do you like that sort of life? Did I do something to make you mad? I beg you, Alfred, come home. Why, Alfred, so that is why you left home. Come on, we can make a place for them at home. Well, it looks like Alfred has brought home a new family, and here they are, Alfred's boys, and we're very pleased to meet you all. Now, as a special kind of treat, let's just see how well you know the sounds of your letters. And here is a think-along song. Now, the song will stop, and you will hear a drum, like this. And right after the drum, see if you can shout out the letter that begins the word before the song tells you what the letter is. So here we go.
Did you ever stop to think?
Think. T-H.
You can't catch fish
Fish. F.
in the kitchen sink.
Sink. S.
Or if you try like anything, you can't get your finger in the bathtub ring.
Ring. R.
What a shame, me oh my, a match can't box.
Box. B.
And a fire can't fly.
Oh, a cup has a lip, but it cannot talk.
Talk. T.
A bench has legs, but it cannot walk.
Walk. W.
White is white and black is black, and a hot dog cannot bite you back.
Did you name the letters in the song? Did you read the words? Sure you did. I'll be back in a moment with your homework. Well, we've learned a lot of new sounds and letters this week. For homework, see if you can finish up your letter cards and your word book. Remember, one letter of the alphabet on each page at the top, and then you'll be all ready for next week's lesson. So have a good weekend, and goodbye. Hello, you ready for reading lesson 6? Have you been doing your homework? Are you getting your word book made? Remember all the letters of the alphabet, one on each page at the top? And just so you won't miss any, here's our alphabet song to help. We finished pasting up our ABC decoding chart, so let's review.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet. Don't forget, every letter has a sound or 2 or 3. You can mix up the letters of the alphabet to get the words you need, the words you like to read. You only need to say the sounds you see.
It's as easy as
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, N, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Now, today we're going to see how our old friends, the vowels, can get together and make familiar sounds and some new sounds, too. You remember the long A as in apron? Well, the sound of A is spelled several different ways in our language. This is because our language, English, comes from a lot of different languages, and sometimes we borrowed words from those languages. We borrowed the spelling, too, and that's why there's more than one way to spell the same sound. Now, let's look at the different ways to spell the sound A. Here's C-A-K-E. Now, there's that silent E at the end of the word, and we know that silent E tells the other vowel to say its own name. So, the A in cake says A, cake. But look at this word, D-A-Y. A and Y are together. They're vowel pals, and they also say A. Here's another word, P-A-I-L. A and I together say A, A. And here's a song to help us remember.
When you see A-I, when you see A-Y, or an A with a silent E.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
You say A.
Cake, day, and pail. Now let's just go over this again together. When you see A-I, when you see A-Y, or an A with a silent E, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You say A, A. And homework in a minute. So for homework today, let's find all the words we can that say A in them somewhere. Look for the A-Ys and the A-Is together. And of course, the A with the silent E at the end. Good hunting, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Today, we're going to meet some more vowel pals like the AI and the AY that we met yesterday. When you see AI or AY or an A with a silent E, what do you say? That's right. You say A. Now, here's an old friend, the letter E. And you remember the clue to the long vowel E? That's right. Eagle. Eagle. Now let's look at the word eagle. Here it is. How does it begin? With an E. But this E has a vowel pal next to him, the letter A. And when they are together, E-A, they say E, like L-E-A-F, leaf. And M-E-A-N, mean. But there's also another way to make the sound E. Now look at this word. C-H-I-E-F. Ch-eef. Chief. Big Indian chief. The E sound is spelled I-E this time. And there's even another way to spell the sound E. Can you guess? Well, look at these words. C. B. Keep. That's right. Two E's together make the sound of E. So we can sing.
When you see I-E, when you see E-A, or an E with another E.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
You say E.
Well, that's I-E and E-A and E with another E. They all say E. So today, we learned the different ways to spell the sound of E, and yesterday we learned the different ways to spell the sound of A. But how do we know which sound our vowel pals are saying when we see them in a word? Well, you remember our song.
You've got to try a sound, roll it up, roll it down, till it makes sense to you. Till it sounds good and true, that's just exactly what you should do. Try it fast, try it slow, every way that you know, till you see the way a word should be.
And I'll be back in a minute with your homework. Now for your homework. Why don't you try and find some IE words, like chief, C-H-I-E-F, or here's another one, niece, niece. Then look for some EA words, like these. Here's eagle, leaf, mean, and you'll find some others, I'm sure. Look for them in the newspaper today. Cut them out, and tomorrow we'll visit some more vowel pals. Goodbye. Hello. This is the third part of reading lesson 6. Did you do your homework? Did you find the words with the vowel pals IE and EA? Well, today we have some new vowel pals to meet. We already know their sounds. It's the long I. Remember ice? And cry. I am going to cry. And there's the same sound again, only this time it's the letter Y. And we remember that too, don't we? There's no other vowel in the word, so Y says I. Now look, here is the word cried. I cried when I hurt myself. The letter I and its vowel pal E, I-E, sometimes say I, as in the word lie. But remember yesterday we learned that in the word chief, I and E said E. Well, sometimes the same two vowel pals say the sound in one word, then a different sound in another word. And when you're reading and you come to a word with an I-E in it, how can you tell which sound to make? Well, you try. Suppose you read the word L-I-E in a story about George Washington. What does the word say?
Did little Georgie Washington ever tell an L-I-E, L-I-E, tell a lee?
Tell a lee?
No, sirree, L-I-E does not say lee.
If George had told an L-I-E, it would have been a lie.
And you know George Washington never told a lie.
You've got to try a sound, roll it up, roll it down, till it makes sense to you. Till it sounds good and true, that's just exactly what you should do. Try it fast, try it slow, every way that you know, till you see the way a word should go.
No, 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 no.
The way a word should.
Back, na, 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 na.
The way a word should be.
You've got it.
Well, now you know the word lie also means something else. Can you guess? Well, look at Alfred. What is Alfred doing? He's not standing up. He's not sitting down. Alfred is tired and he's lying down. That's the other meaning of the word lie. When you are tired, you lie down and go to sleep. And when you go to sleep, at night, night, hear the I sound? That's still another way to spell the sound of I. Look, I-G-H says I. Tight, right, sigh, yes. Well, I'll be back in just a minute with your homework. For your homework, ask Mommy for an old magazine or a newspaper and cut out all the I sound words you can find, especially these I-G-H words, and paste them in a special page in your word book. And I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello. Today we're going to mix up some old letters, the sounds of which we know, and get new sounds. You know what happens when you take yellow paint and mix it with blue paint? You get green, a new color. Well, the same thing happens with letters. Now let's take an old letter like O. You remember O? It says its own name sometimes, like at the beginning of the word ocean and the beginning of the word open. That's the long O. It says its own name when there's another vowel in the word. And when there's no other vowel in the word, like in the word ox, O is short. Ox. Now see what happens when we mix two O's together. We get an altogether new sound, as in book and look and good and took. When we mix the two O's, they make the new sound ooh. Now let's take that old letter O and mix it up with the letter W. We get a new sound, ow. No, it didn't hurt myself. Ow is the sound of O-W, as in the word cow, how, now, and brown. Now we have two more mix-up sounds for you today. If we put the letter A next to our W, we get the sound of aw, as in saw, or paw. The puppy shakes hands with his paw, and claw. The eagle has a claw. Now for our last mix-up sound, it's the sound in boy, boy, like Alfred's boys. Sometimes the sound O-Y is made by our old friend O and Y when they're together in words like boy or in toy. And sometimes O joins the letter I, and then it sounds like oi, as in join, or in point, or in oink. It's a funny word, but that's what the piggy says. And now here's a song to help us remember.
Mix up old letters to get new sounds. Mix up old letters to get new sounds.
The sound in book. Look, look, the book.
The sound in cow. How now, brown cow. Mix up old letters to get new sounds. Mix up old letters to get new sounds.
The sound in saw. Hee-haw, the saw.
The sound in boy. New toy, oh boy. Mix up old letters to get new sounds. Mix up old letters to get new sounds.
Your homework for today is, wait, first this message, and I'll be back in just a minute. Now for our homework today, let's make a special page in our word book. Get an old newspaper or a magazine and cut out all the words you can find that have two O's in them. Then put them on our mix-up page. And remember, I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Did you do your homework? Did you find words with a double O in them? Did you find some that didn't sound like the O's in book and look? Did you find any with an ooh sound, like moo, moo? That's what the cow says, moo. And how about food or soon, soon? My, there are so many sounds, but there's still only one way to learn them all, and that is to read as much as you can and ask Mommy or Daddy to help you. And when you can't make out what a word says, best of all, remember our try song. Try saying the word in different ways, and you'll find that that's the very best way. And we have two spy words for you today. Are you ready to unmask them? The first spy is one, one. I have one nose. And the clue to one is, well, now that you can read, we don't need a picture, do we? We'll sound it out. The clue is wa-un. One, one. The next spy is were, were. Where were you yesterday? And the clue to were is Fur, a fur coat. Oh my, I forgot today is Friday. It's Alfred's Day, and we have another Alfred story. And in our story are some of the new sounds that we've been learning all week. Are you ready? Now, the name of our story is Which. Which. And there's one of Alfred's boys hiding behind Alfred's spyglass. I wonder why. Did he do something wrong? Well, let's turn to the first page and see. All right, boys. Which one of you did it? Where were you on the night of May 10th? Oh, my, look, some of Alfred's boys are running away. Whoops, Alfred caught one, and he says, you were seen near the place. Did you take it? Whoops, he caught another one. Are you the one I'm after? Or you? Or you? My, Alfred's boys are all standing on their heads, and Alfred's saying, come clean now. I cannot tell which is which. Well, they all do look alike, don't they? But one of you took it. Which one of you took that bath? My, there's a ring around the bathtub, and all Alfred wanted to know was which one of the boys took a bath. Well, I'll be back in just a moment. Next week, we will have reading lesson 7. We'll be reading signs you see in the park and on the street. We'll be reading tongue twister sentences. And for your homework, see how many words you can find in an old magazine or newspaper that have the sound of long A, long E, and long I. Not just the letters, but the sounds. Words like rain for long A, see for long E, or try for long I. Goodbye. Hello, boys and girls. This is the first part of your last reading lesson. Did you do your homework? Find the words with long A sounds and long E and I sounds? Well, tomorrow we'll be using some of those words because this week we'll be putting together all the things we've been learning. What's that? Oh, it's Alfred and the boys, and they're all riding bicycles. Do you ride a bicycle? When you do and ride in the park or around town, do you pass signs that have words on them? Well, I do, and...
When I ride my bike to town and I see the sign,
Slow down.
I can read it. I can read it.
When I see the in and out, I'm so happy that I shout, I can read it. I can read it. Down and up, keep in line, left and right, exit sign. I can find what I want when I need it.
When I go to the zoo, I know just what to do. I do not be the kangaroo.
I can read it. I can read it. I can read it.
Were you able to read our signs? Let's look at them again. Slow down. Now, there's those two mix-up letters we were talking about last week, O and W, in the word slow. The O and W say the sound of O, but in the word down, they say ow, down, slow down. If you made a mistake and said slow doon, well, then you'd know it was wrong, of course. Now, here's an easy one, in and out. Our friend O with the letter U again says ow, out. Here's down again. And another easy one, up. But here's a long one. And it's you see in front of a moving picture theater or wherever people line up. Keep in line. There's that double E sound in the word keep. The word in is an easy word. And here's the long vowel I in the word line. L-E-F-T, left. And what's this? That's the word right. I-G-H says I. Now, every time we go to the movies, we see this sign over a door. E-X-I-T. E says eh, and X says X, so E and X say X. And you know the next part, in and t. Exit, exit. And exit means this way out. Here's our last sign, do. That was one of our spy words. Not. Feed, feed. double E sound again. Do not feed. We do not feed the animals in the zoo. Well, now let's get off our bicycles. Oh, Alfred's telling me to get your homework ready. I'll be back in a moment. Here's your homework for today. Look in some old magazines and try to find some pictures of signs, like the ones we've been reading. Cut them out. Try to read them for Mother. See how many you can read without her help. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Did you do your homework? Did you find any signs? Do you remember the homework you did over the weekend? Did you find words with the long A sound, an E sound, and the long I sound? Well, now let's see if there are any of these. First, let's take the sound of the long A, and here's our tongue twister. Rains make trains late. Let's read it slowly. Rain. A and I say long A. Rains. Make. Silent E makes a vowel say its own name. A. Make. Trains. A and I again say long A. Trains. Late. Silent E again makes A say its own name. A. Late. Rains make trains late. Rains make trains late. Rains make trains late. Rains make trains. Oh, what a tongue twister. Were any of the long A words you found the same as these words? And if they weren't, try and make up a tongue twister with your own words. Now here's another one. The slow poke goat froze in the snow. Oh, poor goat. Now let's just read this one a little faster so that the goat won't stay frozen too long. The slow, now here's a try a sound word. O and W are mix-up letters, and sometimes say ow and sometimes say oh. But if you try it and slough, what's a slough poke? So you know it's slow poke. The silent E again makes the vowel O say its own name. O, poke, goat. Now two of our new vowel pals, O and A together, say O, like in boat and float. O-A say O, goat. Froze. Little silent E again makes O say its own name, O. And there's our Z for zebra, the last letter in the alphabet. Froze. Froze. In the snow. Try a sound again. O and W say O and ow. Did you ever freeze in the snow? No. But you know that snow is cold, so it's snow. The slowpoke goat froze in the snow. The slowpoke goat froze in the snow. Well, I'll be back in a minute, and instead of homework, we'll sing a song. Ready for our song? Here we go. Read along as we sing.
It's fun to hop and jump and run. I hop and jump and run. It's fun. It's nice, so nice to skate upon the ice. I skate upon the ice. It's nice.
Oh, I've got lots and lots I like to do, like hit a ball.
Jump over a wall.
It's all so fine and fun. It's fun to run or jump or hop or spin just like the top.
I'll never ever stop.
It's fun. It's fun.
See you tomorrow for Sing Spell. Goodbye. Are you ready for our Sing Spell? Well, today in the third part of reading lesson 7, we're going to hear a funny story about a monkey with a funny tail. And what's that? Oh, I know. Do you? It's called a sailor's hornpipe dance. And there's our little monkey all dressed up as a sailor. We'll have to wait until he sets sail to do our Sing Spell song. But meanwhile, I want to ask you if you remember that different letters can make the same sound. For instance, the letters O-W say ow in now, but O-U says the same sound, ow, in the word out. Well, words do the same thing. We call words that do this sound-alike words. They sound the same when you say them, but they mean different things. And most of the time, they are spelled with different letters to help you tell them apart. Now look, here's the word H-E-R-E. Silent E on the end makes the E say its own name in the word, and we read here, come here. But look again. What does this say? H-E-A-R. Now remember vowel pals E and A. When they're together, what do you say? You say E. So the word says here, here. And this word says here. They are sound-alikes, but they mean different things. This word means to hear someone talk. You hear with your ears, and this word means here I am. You come here. Now, when you read, be on the lookout for different ways to spell the same word sounds. Well, I guess our sailor is ready to sail on, so here we go with our sing-spell song, and it has some more sound-alikes for you.
Sing a little sing-spell, sing a little sing-spell, sing a little sing-spell song. Sing a little sing-spell, sing a little sing-spell, sing a little sing-spell song. You can H-E-A-R, hear a melody if you come over here. H-E-R-E. I've a T-A-L-E tail to T-E-L-L tell about a monkey with a funny tail, T-A-I-L.
Well, now that tail certainly came in handy because when our monkey joined the Navy, he took all his money. He had 1 penny, and he tied his tail around it in a good, strong sailor's knot.
When B-L-E-W blew a storm on the sea, the poor monkey was blue. B-L-U-E. He could S-E-E-C that before very long his penny was done for, and so is this song.
Did you hear the sound-alike words? Here and here, tail and tail, blue and blue. Well, I'll be back in a moment to tell you more about sound-alikes and give you your homework. For your homework, see how many sound-alike words you can find, like be and bee. I will be here tomorrow. Don't get stung by a bee. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello. Even though this is only the next to last part of our reading lesson 7, Alfred has on his detective hat, has his spyglass, to remind us that we haven't unmasked all our spy words yet. So here we go. Here are a double pair of troublemakers. C-O-U-L-D, could. I could eat more candy, but I don't want to get a stomachache. And S-H-O-U-L-D, should. I should drink milk because it builds strong bones. Let's unmask them. The clue to could and should is wood. Our floors are made with wood. Could and should sound like wood. Our last 2 spies are another pair of troublemakers. They're sound-alikes. T-H-E-R-E, there. I wouldn't want to live on the moon, but I'd like to go there and visit. And T-H-E-I-R, there. If anyone lives on the moon, then the moon is their home. And if we visited, we would be their guests. Now, let's unmask these 2 spies. The clue to there and there is chair. There and there sound like chair. Well, I guess that takes care of the spies, but you know tomorrow we'll be reading our last Alfred story of this series. So let's see if we remember our spy words and our vowel pals and some special mix-up sounds. Of course, you remember should and could, spy words we just unmasked. They sound like would. But do you remember these 2? Now, we unmasked them with shoe. That's right. To and do. And here's another spy that we unmasked way back in lesson 3. He sounds like bed. That's right. The spy is said. I said so, S-A-I-D. But you remember that A and I also say A as in rain, and P-A-I-N-T, paint. And here's our old friend O, an N-O, and with a silent E, he says his own name as in T-O-E, and even with O-W, S-N-O-W, snow. Most of the time when O pals around with W, they say ow, as in how, now, brown, cow. That O can be pretty tricky. And then when he gets together with another vowel, just look here. Sometimes O and U say you, as in the word you. But put him together with another O and they have another new sound. O, as in wood and good. And I'll be back with you in just a minute for some homework. And now here's the important rule to remember. Sound out to find out. Sound out to see what a word says. And remember to look at all the other words around that word in your story. In your word book, paste words that look alike. But remember this, all words which look alike do not always sound alike. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hi, today is Alfred Day, and we have a special story called, can you read it? Remember how, now, brown cow? That's right, it's called how, and that is a question mark, and it means Alfred is asking a question, how? You know what a question is. You ask them all the time. How old are you? How many rooms in your house? And you know, a long time ago when the first explorers met the great Indian chiefs, they couldn't speak each other's language. And instead of greeting each other by saying hello, they would say how. It was Indian language for hello. How are you? Our story today is all about how Alfred figured out something. And here we go. How? How, said Alfred. How in thunder can I tell you boys apart? Should I put a number on their shirts? Well, look what Alfred is doing. He's putting a number on each boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. No, that will not do. Well, it looks like 2 of the boys fooled Alfred. Number 9 is standing on his head, so he looks just like number 6. Could I paint a name on each one of you? Now look, Alfred has painted a name on each boy's back. Ted, Joe, Sam, Lou, Al, Sid, and Max. Well, that should do it. No, that is not good at all. The boys are scrubbing each other's backs with soap and water in the bathtub and washing off the names Alfred painted on them. Poor Alfred. There must be some way to tell you apart. But how? Poor Alfred is trying to think of a way. How? Well, here is how. That mark is called an exclamation point. It means we say the word louder than the other words, as we'd say, hooray. Now let's see what Alfred thought of. How? Well, look, Alfred has put an Indian feather on each boy's head, a different one on each boy so he can tell them apart. And here they are. Well, that's our last Alfred story, and this is almost the end of our last reading lesson of this series. I'll be back in a moment for a very important announcement. Now, here's my very important announcement. Starting next week, same time, be sure and be here because we're going to learn to write. Have a pencil and some paper and something to lean on, a book or a stiff cardboard. I'll see you then. And meanwhile, I hope you can really read. See you next week.
I can find all kinds of pleasure, yes indeed.
I I can really.
Really, really.
Really.
Really, really.
Really.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our schoolroom. We're going to learn how to print letters and put the letters together to write whatever you want to, whenever you want to. Think of all the things you can do if you can write. Listen to our song.
Now supposing you want to remember all the toys that you'd like in December, be it April or May, there's a way till that day comes around. Make a list, write it down.
Do you have a pencil and some paper? If you don't, ask Mommy. Now, each day we're going to learn a few more letters, and pretty soon you'll be able to write anything you want to. Now, let's start with the first letter in the alphabet, the letter A. Now, when we write A, we can write in this way or in this way. Now, the big A is called a capital A, and the little a is the small a. And notice that the big, or the capital letter A, takes up all the space between the lines, and the small a takes up only about half the space. Now, for big capital A. All right, start at the top, and we're going to make one line that will slant down one way, and another line that will slant down the other way. Make the little cross line neatly. Now, small a is almost a circle and a line. You do it on your paper. Big capital A, small a. Now, here is the letter D. Big capital D is a straight line, and fill up the whole space between the lines, and then half a circle around from the top of the line to the bottom there. And small d starts out the same way, a straight line, fill up the whole space between the lines, and then a little circle only halfway up the space. Starts at the line and goes around and ends at the line. There. One more now, the letter S. All right, the big letter S, the capital S, and the small s are exactly the same except for size. The big S starts at the very top of the line, and we make half a circle halfway down, then turn and make another half a circle the other way, all the way to the bottom of the space. The little s is just the same, half a circle, but instead of starting at the top, we start halfway down, and then turn and make the half circle the other way. There. Did you do it? Capital S and small s. Good. Now you practice, and I'll be back in a moment. Now take a fresh line on your paper and write what I say. Write capital D, write small a. Now write small d. That's capital D, small a, small d. There, you have written a word, Dad. Show it to your daddy tonight, and practice the S too, and I'll see you tomorrow. Do you have your pencil and paper ready? Because today we're going to write some more letters, and we're going to start with the letter M. The big M first, the capital M, and you know all capital letters fill the whole space between the lines. So, are you all ready? All right, we'll start at the top, a slanty line down to the bottom, up at the top, another slanty line all the way down to the bottom, a slanty line up to the top, and a slanty line down to the bottom. A capital M. Now, for the small m, remember small letters take up only half the space between the lines, so we'll start in the middle with a straight line down to the bottom of the space. Now a little round curve, down again, another little round curve, and down again. Small m, you write it. Straight down, curve, and down again. Curve, and down again. There. The next letter is the easiest letter in the alphabet, the letter I. Capital I is a straight line from the top of the space to the bottom. And two tiny little lines first, one on top across, and then one on the bottom across. Capital I. You write it. Straight line down all the way, little cross line at the top, little cross line at the bottom. Now, how about the small I? That's even easier. You just have to remember to start halfway down. It's just a straight line down like the capital one. That is right. But don't forget to dot it. Small I has a dot on the top of the line. The next two letters, easy too. The first letter L. Capital L is just a straight line from the top to the bottom. Then a little line at the bottom. Try it. Straight line from the top down to the bottom, a little line. There. Small L is just a straight line all the way from the top to the bottom, but not like the other small letters. It stretches from the top of your space to the bottom. Small L. Our last letter is a letter O, and it is just a circle, but it takes a lot of practice to make it round. Capital O is a big circle, touching the top of your space and around to the bottom and up again. Practice it. Make it nice and round. Small O is a smaller circle that goes halfway up, but it must be nice and round and touch the bottom line. You practice your O, L, and I, and M, and I'll be back in a minute, so be ready with your pencil. Today we learned 4 letters, capital and small letters for M, I, L, and O, and this is how we wrote them. M, I, L, and O. Yesterday we made a word, today we'll make a word. Capital M, small O, small m, Mom. Show her. She'll love it, and I'll see you tomorrow. You have your pencil and paper ready? This is the third part of writing lesson 1. Have you been practicing the letters we've written so far? Do your letters touch the bottom line? Can you keep them straight so other people can read them? You know, writing takes a lot of practice, just the way learning to ride a two-wheeler does. So don't worry if your letters don't look exactly the way you want them, because we're going to keep practicing and practicing. And so we're going to learn 3 new letters today. And here they are. T, capital T, small t, capital F, small f, capital E, small e. And this is the way we'll do it. Shall we start with capital T? All right, capital T is a straight line down and a small cross line at the top. And the small letter T is a little different. It's small, so we'll start just a little higher than halfway. Just a straight line down, and we'll cross it with a little line. Small t, straight line down from a little above the middle line, cross with a small line just below. So, now for capital F. Capital F starts with a straight line from top to bottom, down, then a little line at the very top, and another little line in the middle. Capital F. You write it. Straight line from top to bottom, then a little line at the very top, and a little line in the middle. Now, small f is like small l. It takes up the whole space, but it starts with a curve, and then it goes straight down, and then we cross it in the middle. You do it. Small f. Straight line from the top, curve a little to the left, and then straight down to the bottom. Now, cross the line in the middle. Good. Our last letter is E, as in eagle. All right, remember that? Capital E starts exactly at the same as capital F. Straight line from top to bottom. A little line at the top, then a line in the middle, and a little line in the bottom. Capital E. Small e takes only half the space between our lines. We start between the bottom line and the middle line. A short straight line from left to right, and then around, as if you were making an O all the way around, and stop just before you make a circle. That's small e. Now you practice, and I'll be back in just a moment. So please have your pencil and fresh paper all ready. Do you have your pencil ready? Well, here we go. Write capital T, small I, small M, small E, leave a space. Now, small t, small o, leave a space. Now, small e, small a, and small t. Can you read it? Show it to Mommy when you're hungry. And I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Did you write our message yesterday? And did you read it? It said, time to eat. And when you wrote it, did you notice I said capital T at the beginning? That's because we always begin a sentence with a capital letter. And here's another reason for capital letters.
The capital letters. You'll always use one to begin a word, like Mary and Sally. The names of all the people you know, Ohio, Nevada, and all the names of places to go.
Now, you remember that we learned the letter M? Well, the next letter in the alphabet is N. N, as in net, new, nip. Capital N starts with a straight line down from the top of your space to the bottom line. So then we start at the top again, just as we did with M. And we slant all the way down to the right to the bottom line, and then straight up to the top again. You try it. Start at the top, straight down, start at the top again, slant down, and then straight up from the bottom to the top. Capital N. Now, small n is like the small m, only half its size. Remember, it's small, so start in the middle of your space, straight line down to the bottom, and then a little curve at the top, and down again. That's it, small n. Now, before we write any more new letters, start a new line on your paper and write these capital letters all on one line next to one another. Are you ready? All right. Write capital N, now capital O. Now write next to the O the capital T, and next to the T write capital I, and last, next to the capital I, write N again. What do you have? Nothing. Now what does that say? That makes no sense. So start a fresh line and write the letters again with me. Capital N, and then capital O, and then capital T. Now leave a space, and now write capital I and capital N. What does it say? It says not in, and that makes sense. And if we put the space after the letter O, the whole meaning changes, and it says no tin. See how important the space between letters and words are? All the letters in one word should be side by side and close together like this. The spaces between tell us where one word ends and another begins. And I'll be back in just a moment with an important new letter. Here's our new letter, and it's an easy one. The letter U, as in umbrella and use. Capital U. We start at the top, go straight down, curve around, and touch the bottom line, and straight up. That's it. U and small u. Practice your U and N today for your homework, and ask Mommy or Daddy what those two very important letters stand for. U-N. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hello there. Did you find out what UN meant? Well, that's right. It stands for the United Nations, and it's a place where all the countries of the world meet one another and help each other. And today is Alfred Day. And he's been so busy writing our 3 new letters. Let's just see what he did. Oh, Alfred, you have been practicing. And look at the end, there's a secret message. But that's for later. Now let's just see what the first letter is. Well, it's capital H. Capital H. Just 2 straight lines from top to bottom with a little cross line in between, like this. Capital H. Now you write it. Straight line, and cross line. All right? Now small h starts with the same straight line, but then because it's small, halfway between the lines, a little curve, just like the M, and straight down to the bottom line. Small h. All right, now we have capital R, as in ring. And it's a straight line from top to bottom, and then very carefully a half circle to the middle and slant. All right, you write it. Straight line, half a circle around to the middle and slant. Good. Now small r starts halfway between our lines. Straight line and then just a little curve. That's small r. Well, now what else did Alfred have on his paper? Oh, yes, B. Capital B is in bed. All right, capital B starts the same way, straight line from top to bottom. Then very carefully, a little half circle around to the middle, then another half circle down to the bottom line, capital B. You write it. Straight line from top to bottom carefully, and half a circle around to the middle, and then again half a circle around to the bottom. Good. How about small b? Now that's very much like small h. A straight line again, down to top to bottom. Then because it's a small letter, just half a circle around to the bottom. It's really half a capital B, isn't it? Now, that's small b. So you practice H and R and B, and I'll be back with Alfred's secret message in just a minute. Have your pencil and paper ready. Are you ready with pencil and paper? Because here is Alfred's secret message. And Alfred says it's someone's name, but the letters are all mixed up. So write down the letters I say, and then try to put them in the right order to spell someone's name. Alfred gave us a hint. He says it's a girl's name. Well, here they are. Ready? The first letter is A, the next letter is N, the next letter is F, and the last letter is R. A-N-F-R. Did you write them all down? I wonder whose name that could be. Well, I'll see you next week, and maybe we'll figure it out, and Alfred will tell us. Goodbye. Hello, you ready for writing lesson 2? Did you figure out Alfred's secret name? Well, the letters were A-N-F-R. Oh, Alfred, you're so sweet. They spell my name, Fran. Let's see. We'll put the F over here and move the R right next to it, and the A and the N, and we have F-R-A-N, Fran. Thank you, Alfred. Oh, we have a lot to do in this lesson. First of all, there are 3 new letters to write, so I think we better start right away. Do you have your pencil and paper ready? Good. Well, here we go. Now, the first letter is P, as in pale. And capital P starts with a straight line from top to bottom, and then carefully a half circle around to the middle and stop. That's right, capital P. Now, small p starts halfway between the lines, and we make a straight line down a little past, then back up here, and a half circle around here and stop. That's small p. All right, now let's write them again. You do it with me. Capital P and small p. All right? Our next new letter is W, and it's sort of like an upside-down M, capital W. Start at the top, slant down, slant up, slant down, and slant up, capital W. Now you do it with me, carefully. Slant down, slant up, slant down, and slant up. Good. Now, small w is exactly the same, except we only use half the space. We slant down, slant up, down, and up again. All right, small w. Now we come to the letter Y. Y for yarn, capital Y. We use the top half of our space. Slant down, slant up, and then a straight line that's kind of a tail, and that's a capital Y. All right, now for a small y, we start here, slant down, and come to the top, come down, and a little farther on, and small y. All right, now let's do it again. All right. Good, good. You write it again, and I'll be back in a moment with a message for you to write. So have your pencil and paper ready. Our message is going to use all the letters you know. So here we go. And write on one line, capital A, small l, small f, small r, small e, small d. Now leave a space or go to the next line. Small I, small s, leave a space or go to the next line. Small m, small y, leave a space or go to the next line. Small p, small a, small l. Did you get it all? Well, tomorrow I'm going to give it to Alfred to read, so I'll see you then. Hello. Did you read yesterday's secret message? I gave it to Alfred to read, and I wonder what he'll say. Because here's what it said. Alfred is my pal. I wonder if he read it. Well, let's see what Alfred's doing today. Alfred? Well, where are you? He's gone. There he is, and he did read it because here's a note that says, for Fran from her pal Alfred, and he brought me flowers. Alfred, thank you very much. I guess Alfred's bashful. Well, these flowers are lovely, but we have lessons to do. We want to get back to our letters. There are 2 more new letters today. Do you have your pencil and paper ready? Good, because our first one is the letter J, as in jar. Now, capital J starts at the very top line of our space with a straight line almost to the bottom. Just before we reach the bottom line, we curve. We touch the line and curve up a little. There, capital J. Straight down, almost to the bottom, curve and touch the line and up a little. Now, how about small j? Well, it's almost the same, except it's small, so we start in the middle of our space. Go down, straight below the line, and curve up a little like this. And small j. Small j is the only letter besides small I that has a dot on top of it. So we dot the top of the small j, and there you are. Now, our last letter for today sounds like J sometimes, but most of the time it has the hard sound of G, as in gun. Of course, it's the letter G. Capital G starts out like an O. Near the top of our space, we start to make a circle, touching the top line and curving around until we touch the bottom line. And then we curve halfway up and stop and make a short straight line in there. That's capital G. Start near the top, circle around, down, touch the bottom line, curve up halfway, stop, then a short line in, stop. Small g starts out in the middle of our space, much like small a. Circle around, touch the bottom line, then straight up, halfway, then down below the bottom line, make a little curve in, and stop. There. Small g, small g, small g. Well, that's all for today, and I'll be back in just a moment. Tomorrow, we're going to sing a special song about 4 letters we've already met. So for homework today, practice writing these 4 letters. B, P, T, and D, just like this. Write them down and practice both the capital letters and the small letters, B, P, T, and D. And I'll see you tomorrow. Did you do your homework for today? Did you practice writing the letters B, P, T, and D? All right. Did you find that these letters sound a little alike? They even look a little alike. And sometimes we can get mixed up when we use them in words. So let's look at them again, and you take your pencil and write along with me as we sing our B, P, T, D song.
If I say bag, you know it's a B. If I say pig, go look for the P.
If I say top, the letter is T.
If I say dog, it's surely a D.
Bag, B, pig, P, top, T, dog, D.
And there they are, bag, pig, top, and dog. Now, I'm going to show you some pictures, and you look at each one and see if you can write the letter that's missing before I do. The first picture is a lamp, but only the L-A-M are written. Now, what's the missing letter? Listen, lamp, lamp. Write it down. That's right. The letter P, small p, lamb and p, say lamp. Now, this is what you wore when you were a little baby every time you ate. It's a bib, and only the letters B-I, bit, are written. What's missing? Bib. Write it. That's right. Small b. B and small b say bib. Remember the small b? The circle goes around to the right. What's this? A rum? No, it's a drum. What's missing? Say it and write it. That's right. Small d, d, rum, says drum. All right? Remember the little circle around, and small d goes to the left. Small d, circle left for drum. And here's an easy one. The picture is a tub. The letters written are U-B, ub. The picture is tub, so write the letter T. T and ub say tub, tub. All right, now I'll be back in just a minute with your homework. For homework today, I want you to write two more letters that look a little and sound a little alike. M and N. M as in mat, and N as in nut. M and N are the sounds. Small letter N is a straight line with only one little hill, as in nest, one little hill. Small letter M is a straight line with two little hills, as in mitt, two little hills. Now find all the words you can with an M and an N in them and write the letter and say it each time you find the word. Words like gum, or gun, or mop, or fan, or man with M and N. All right, see you tomorrow. Did you practice writing your letters M and N? And did you say them each time? Small n, small m, small n, a straight line with only one little hill, and small m, same straight line, two little hills. Do you know what we were doing yesterday? We were writing words. We added letters to other letters and made words, like building something. So let's do some more word building today with some letters that we've already learned to write. Now here is a word we know. It is P-I-N, pin. And here it is again and again. Pin, 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 pin. But look what we can do to build some more words. Put an S in front, and we have built a new word. Spin, spin. And if we put an E on the end, silent E makes the other vowel in the word say its own name. And the other vowel is I, so we get pie, pine. Now suppose we put that silent E at the end of pin again, but this time put the S in front again, and we get spine, spine. The bones that run down your back are called your spine.
Take a word you know like P-I-N, pin, put an S in front and you get spin. Silent E on the end of pin makes pine. S-P-I-N-E together give you spine.
Now, here's the word rid, R-I-D, rid, rid. Add a silent E on the end and we build the word ride. Put the letter P in front and silent E on the end, and we built the word P-R-I-D-E, pride, pride.
R-I-D is rid, R-I-D-E ride. Put a P in front and an E on the end. P-R-I-D-E, that's pride.
We'll build some more words, and I'll be back in just a minute with your homework. Do you have your pencil and paper ready? All right, write now on one line, capital S, small L, small E, another small E, small P, leave a space or start a new line, small T, small I, small G, small H, and small T. Now I'll repeat it. First line, capital S, small E, small L, small E, small E, small P. Did you leave a space? All right. Small T, small I, small G, small H, small T. All right. And be sure that you're more careful than I am. And why don't you make a copy of this message for each bed in your house? Then put a copy on each pillow before you go to sleep tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hello? You know, this is the last part of writing lesson 2. Did you do your homework yesterday? You know what the message said? Capital S-L-E-E-P, and then a space, T-I-G-H-T. Sleep tight. That's right, and I hope everyone did. Oh, today we're going to play a wonderful game. It's called Scramble. Do you have your paper and pencil ready? Well, all right. Now we'll just have to see who wins because you're going to play with Alfred. You need a clean piece of paper, and then I want you to write these small vowel letters right down the middle line like this. Small A in the middle of the page, and under it on a new line, E, then a new line, write small I, and then small O, and under that in the middle of the page and last at the bottom under the O, write small U. There. Have them all written? A, E, I, O, and U. Are they under one another like this in the middle of the page? Good. Then we're ready for Scramble. Now we have 2 spinners. First, Alfred will spin both. And he'll have to make as many words as he can with the 2 letters he gets and any of the vowels on our list. All right, spin, Alfred. There we go. First letter is F. Spin again, Alfred. Now, the second letter is N. Does Alfred have many words? Yes, he does. F and N with the A, F-A-N, fan. That's a word. And look, F-I-N, fin. It's a word. A fish has a fin. And look, Alfred has a third word, F-U-N, fun. 3 words. That's very good, Alfred. Now it's your turn. Are you ready? All right, spin, and your first letter is B. Spin again, and your second letter is T. Now quickly look at your list of vowels. What words can you make with B and T? Vowel A is first. B-A-T, bat, that's a word. How about the vowel E? B-E-T, bet, that's a word. You have 2 words already. How about the vowel I? B-I-T, bit. I'll have a little bit of candy. There, now you have as many words as Alfred. Try O. B-O-T, but not a word. How about T-O-B? No. But how about B-U-T? That's a word. And you win because you have more words than Alfred, and I'll be back in just a moment. Alfred, you want to play again? Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't time today, but I'll play with you after the program, all right? And you know, all the boys and girls can play at home, even if they haven't a scramble spinner. They can just cut out all the letters from a magazine or newspaper, put them in a bag, and then take turns pulling out 2 letters at a time and trying to make words with the vowels on their list. I hope you win when you play next time, and I'll see you next week for writing lesson 3. Goodbye. Hello. Are you ready for your 3rd writing lesson? Do you know that we have 6 more letters that we haven't written yet? And here they are. C, K, Q, X, V, and Z. And we'll start with letter C. Do you have your paper and pencil? Well, now here is C. Sometimes letter C is soft, you know, and makes the sound, like in scent or nice. And sometimes C is hard and makes the k sound, as in car. Now, if you have your paper and pencil now, let's write letter C. First, the big capital C. And we start near the top of our space and curve around to the left, touching the top line, and then curve down and around all the way, as if we were making the letter O. Just before the bottom line, we curve into the right. Touch the bottom line and curve up a bit and stop. Capital C. Now, small c is just the same, but because it's small, we only use half our space. We start near the middle line, curve up to the middle, around and down and around, and stop. Small c. Write it again. Small c. Now, one of the sounds of C is the hard sound k, and that's our next letter, K, as in kite. Now, to make the capital K, we start with a straight line from the very top of our space straight down to the bottom, just the way we make a small L. And then we make a second line from the top, slanting down to the left to meet our first line in about the middle. And then we make our third line from a little above where our other 2 lines met, slanting down to the right all the way to the bottom line. Capital K. Write it again. All right. Second line from the straight line. All right. Then slant and meet the first line in the middle. Third line from a little above. Slant down to the right, down to the bottom. Capital K. Capital K. Small k is a little different. It starts the same, straight line from the very top to the bottom, but because it's a small letter, we start our second line at the middle and slant down to meet the first line. Then we make our third line the same way, a little above, slant down to the bottom. Write it again. Small k, small k. And I'll be back with you with our last letter for today in just a minute, so keep your paper and pencil handy. You ready for our new letter? Here it is, capital Q. And it's almost the same as capital O with one very important difference. We put a little line through the bottom of the circle. It slants like this. Looks like a little bow. Capital Q. Small q begins like the small g. Half the space, curve around, straight line down, but past the bottom line and curve away. Write it again, small q. Now you practice your letters, C, K, and Q, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Did you practice your letters C, K, and Q? I hope so, because we have our 3 last letters today. And do you notice something about them? Look, capital X, capital V, and capital Z. All right? Small x, small v, small z. That's right. The capital and small letters are written just the same, except the small letters are just half as big. So get your paper and pencil ready, and let's write. All right, let's start with capital X. Remember, X marks the spot. It's just two slant lines that cross in the middle of our space. Slant one line from the top to the bottom, then slant the other line from the top to the bottom, capital X. Slant, slant, capital X. The clue to X is in box. Box, and small x is just the same as capital X, except we only use half the space. So start in the middle and slant, slant, small x. All right, now let's look at the letter V. Our picture clue is violin. Capital V starts at the top, then slant all the way to the bottom, then start at the top again, and slant the other way to meet the bottom line. That's right. It's just like an arrow pointing down. Let's try it again. Slant down to the bottom, and slant down from the top again, and meet. Make your arrow point. Try to make them meet right on the bottom line. If you miss, try it this way. Slant down, stop, then slant up again. Capital V. Small v is just the same, but it starts in the middle of the space because it's small. Slant down from the middle, slant down again to make your small arrow point down. Small v, or slant down from the middle and then up to the middle right away. Try to make your two lines the same height. All right, our last letter is the last letter in the alphabet. Z, as in zebra. Capital Z. Straight across at the top line, slant all the way down to the bottom line, then straight across the bottom. That's capital Z. Straight, slant to the bottom, straight again. Capital Z. Small z is just the same, only in half the space. Straight, slant down from the middle, straight across the bottom, small z. Small z. Small z. That's the last of the letters, but I'll be back in just a moment, so have your pencil and clean piece of paper ready. Homework. Ready to write? Remember the note you left on all the bed pillows in your house the other night? It said, sleep tight? Here's a note to show to Mommy or Daddy when she or he comes to tuck you in tonight. All right, write capital K, small I, small s, leave a space, small m, small e. Do it again, capital K-I-S-S-M-E. All right. Then make a line straight down. Put a dot under it. That's right. Now see you tomorrow, and be sure to have paper and pencil ready. It's very important. Hello. Today we're going to review our letters. I want you to try to write each letter you see, and don't worry if you miss any, because while you're writing, you will listen to our practice song. Pencil ready? Here we go. Now write each capital, and if you have time, the small letter too, as it comes on the screen. Go.
How can a circus strongman learn to lift a heavy weight?
How does a figure skater turn a fancy figure 8?
How does a baseball player
Pitch straight to the plate. The plain and simple fact is, it just takes practice.
What do you do if you want to try to swim across a pool?
How do you learn to use a saw or any other tool?
No matter what the game, it's all the same.
At home or play or school, to do it letter perfect. The plain and simple fact is, to do it letter perfect takes practice, practice, practice. How can a circus strongman learn to lift a heavy weight?
How does a figure skater turn a fancy figure 8?
How does a baseball player
Pitch straight to the plate. The plain and simple fact is, it just takes practice.
What do you do if you want to try to swim across a pool?
How do you learn to use a saw or any other tool?
No matter what the game, it's all the same.
At home or play or school, to do it letter perfect. The plain and simple fact is, to do it letter perfect takes practice, practice, practice.
How can a circus strongman learn to lift a heavy weight?
How does a figure skater turn a fancy figure 8?
How does a baseball player
Pitch straight to the plate. The plain and simple fact is, it just takes practice.
What do you do if you want to try to swim across a pool?
How do you learn to use a saw or any other tool?
No matter what the game, it's all the same.
At home or play or school, to do it letter perfect. The plain and simple fact is, to do it letter perfect takes practice, practice, practice.
How can a circus strongman learn to lift a heavy weight?
How does a figure skater turn a fancy figure 8?
How does a baseball player
Pitch straight to the plate. The plain and simple fact is, it just takes practice.
What do you do if you want to try to swim across a pool?
How do you learn to use a saw or any other tool?
No matter what the game, it's all the same.
At home or play or school, to do it.
Well, did you write them all? I'll be back in just a moment. Now finish up all the letters you didn't have time for your homework. And be sure to save your paper. I want you to look at it tomorrow first thing. See you tomorrow. Hello. Did you save your paper from yesterday? How do your letters look? Let's check them. Now that means let's look at what you've written and see if they're right. And we have a special song to do that with. It asks a question that's very important in writing. Do your letters touch the line? All right, and here we go.
Do your letters touch the line? Do your capitals go from top to bottom? Stop and check up on your line. And if they do, you'll know you've got 'em. Oh, do your letters touch the line? Are there 5 that you can find that go below it? Little G, J, P, Q, Y. They go under, and I wonder if you know it. 7 letters that are small really aren't small at all. They stretch up tall from line to line. Check your B and F and D. Check your H, K, L, and T. Check to see if they're standing straight and fine. Oh, are your letters neat and clean? Have you got the dots on I and J? They need 'em. Line to line and in between. If you wrote them right, then anyone can read 'em. Check your line. Check your line.
Check your line, that's very important. And most of all, practice writing every chance you get. Well, we've done a lot of checking today, but very little writing. So let's see if you can guess a few letters and write them along with me. And I'll show you a picture, and then I'll say the name of the picture, and you see if you can write the letter that makes the sound at the beginning of each name before I do. Now, here we go. Our first picture is wagon. W-agon. That's W. Capital W and small w. Next picture is a rabbit. Rabbit. And that's capital R and small r. Next picture is an iron. Iron. That's capital I and small I, and don't forget to dot it. Next picture is a tie. Tie. T. That's capital T and small t. And the last picture is an ear. Ear. So that would be capital E and small e. And do you know what we've written with those 5 letters? W, R, I, T, and E. Try and figure it out if you don't know, and I'll be back in just a moment. Do you know the word W, R, I, T, E? It's the word write, and that's what you're learning to do, to write. And tomorrow we're going to learn more about capital letters. Alfred will have a puzzle for you. So for your homework, practice your capital letters. Try to make them neatly, like these. See that they fill up the lines and that they stand straight and tall. And here they are. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, and U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Did you practice your capital letters? Remember our song, When Do We Use the Capital Letters?
The capital, capital, capital letters. You'll always use one to begin a word, like Mary and Sally. The names of all the people you know, Ohio, Nevada, and all the names of places to go. You choose a capital, capital, capital letter. You'll always use one for a holiday, like Christmas and Easter, Columbus Day, the 4th of July. And when you talk about yourself, you use the capital letter I.
Yes, we start every sentence with a capital letter and the names of the months of the year. Capital J for January, F for February, M for March, A for April, M for May, J for June, J for July, too, A for August, S for September, O for October, N for November, and D for December. And capital letters for the names of the days in the week. Capital S for Sunday, capital M for Monday, T for Tuesday, W for Wednesday, capital T for Thursday, capital F for Friday. Today is Friday, and S for Saturday.
Capital, capital, capital letter, they're a snap if you happen to realize at the start of a sentence the I, that is you, in names, times, and places. What do? You capital, 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 capitalize.
There. That's why we capitalize, and I'll be back in just a moment. A very important announcement. This is our last writing lesson for this series, and I hope you can sing with Alfred and his boys and me.
I can really write on a blackboard, paper, or slate. My communication is great, and I'm flying high because I can really write.
And here's our very important announcement. Starting next week, every day at this time on this channel, we're going to learn about arithmetic. We're going to learn to add and subtract and count, so be sure and be here. Alfred and I will be looking for you. Meanwhile,
you can hear me yell with delight. I can really,
like Mark Twain or Horace Greeley.
I can really write. With no apologies, excuses, I'll write books like Dr. Seuss's. I can really write.
goodbye. Hello, boys and girls. I have a question to ask you. Do you know your numbers? Do you know how to count? Can you add and subtract? Would you like to learn how? Well, here in our Learn at Home schoolroom, we're going to learn arithmetic. And do you know what arithmetic is? It's a science that tells us about numbers. You know that when you read and write, you use letters, and the alphabet has 26 letters. That's more letters than you have fingers and toes, eyes and ears and nose. But in arithmetic, we only have 9 numbers and a 0, just 1 for each finger. And with them, we can do anything we want to. If you want to have more fun while we have our lesson, why don't you ask Mommy to give you a sugar cube, or pennies, or blocks, or pencil. Just 10 of anything, 1 for each finger on both hands. And then when we talk, or sing, play games, you can join us. And be sure and have lots of paper and a pencil handy. We're going to be writing on our blackboard and playing games. And oh, this is Alfred. And he's going to be our timekeeper. What, Alfred? Oh, of course. It's time for our song. Thank you. Can you imagine what it would be like if there were no numbers? Well, here's our song about that, and it's called Suppose. Now, while we sing, why don't you tap your feet and try to keep time with us? Listen.
Suppose there were no numbers. Suppose, suppose. Suppose there were no numbers. Suppose, suppose. You couldn't tell the time. You wouldn't know the date. You wouldn't have a scale to tell you what your weight. Suppose, suppose, suppose. In ancient Egypt, men were building pyramids so high. The man in charge said pyramids are 90 cubits high. They built and built and built and built and built up to the top.
If there hadn't been a 90, they wouldn't know when to stop.
Suppose there were no numbers. Suppose, suppose. Suppose there were no numbers at all.
You wouldn't see a baseball game.
Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3!
Thank goodness there are numbers for you and me.
So you see how important numbers are. Why, without numbers, there'd be no birthdays. You wouldn't know how old you were. And I'll be back in just a moment with the most important part of our first arithmetic lesson. Ready for our homework in arithmetic? Well, you ask Mommy for an empty box or a paper bag, and then you keep your paper and pencil or crayon in it so you can have them handy every day when we have our lesson. And don't forget the sugar cubes or pennies or toothpicks or anything small, 1 for each finger on both your hands. Now for tomorrow, get a piece of cardboard and scissors and cut out a square for each finger on your left hand and a circle for each finger on your right hand. And have them ready before our lesson, and I'll see you then. Goodbye. Well, it's time for the first part of our second arithmetic lesson. Alfred says it's time, and he's our timekeeper. So let's get right to work. Do you have your sugar cubes or pennies or toothpicks or white blocks handy? You need 1 for each finger on both hands. If you do, we're going to play which has more. And here's the way we play. We have boxes here with pictures of pussycats in each box. When I ask which box has more pussycats in it, you put out 1 block or sugar cube or penny for each cat you see in the first box, like this. 1 for this cat, 1 for this cat, 1 for this one, 1 for this one, 1 for this cat. Now make a train of the blocks or cubes you put out. Now put out a block or cube or penny for each cat in this box, like so. 1 for this cat, 1 for this one, this, and 1 for this last cat. Make a different train with the blocks you put out for the cats in this box. Which train is longer? Why, this one. So this box has more cats in it than this one. Now let's look at the monkeys. And we're going to see which box has more monkeys in it. If you don't have any sugar cubes or blocks or pennies, keep track by making a little mark on your paper with a pencil. For each monkey, a mark from one line on the paper to another. So each mark is the same size. And then put the marks one behind the other like a train, like this. And the longer the train, the more monkeys. First look and try to guess which box has more monkeys in it. Then see if you're right. Which one did you guess? This box has monkeys with bow ties on. And this box has monkeys without ties. Well, let's see if you guessed right. This box first. I'll put out a block for this monkey, this one, and 1 for this monkey. this one, and this one. There. Now make a train for the monkeys with ties on. Now how about this box? Another train with a block for this monkey. This one, this one, this one, and a block for this one, this one, this one, and one for the last monkey. So we have a train for the monkeys with ties and one for the monkeys without ties. And we know which train is longer. Why, it's the train for the monkeys without ties. I guess there are more monkeys without ties than with ties. Now, very quickly, tell me by just looking which is more. The chicks here with black wings or the chicks here with white wings? Write down a B if you say black and a W if you say white. Which bunch of dots has more? The dots with X's on them or the dots without the X's? Write down X if you say X and leave your paper blank if you say without X's. And I'll be back in a minute with the answers in your homework. Now, the answers are the chicks with white wings are more and the dots with X's are more. And for homework, I want you to be sure and have some fresh paper tomorrow with lines on it and something to rest it on and a pencil with a good point, and I'll see you then. Hello, it's time for the next part of Arithmetic Lesson 2. Do you have your lined paper and pencil? Good, because Alfred and I are going to play chicks and cats, and you can play with us. Alfred has the cat cards, and I have the chick cards. And we're each going to hold up one of our cards like this to see who has more or who has less. And sometimes we'll both have just as many. And when that happens, we'll sing our song.
There's a chick for every cat. There's a chick for every kitty, kitty cat.
Now, here's what you do. You keep score. If I have more chicks than Alfred has cats, put a line between two lines like this on the right side of the paper. If Alfred has more cats than I have chicks, put a line on the left side like this. If he has just as many cats as I have chicks, why then we have equal chicks and cats, for that is what equal means, just as many. And each time you draw a line to keep score, put it right under the last line, so at the end we can see who has the longest line. Are you ready, scorekeepers? Well, here we go. Now, who has more? Why, Alfred has more cats than I have chicks, and I have less chicks than Alfred has cats. So it's a line for Alfred. All right? Now, here we go. Now who has more and who has less? Alfred has a cat, a cat, a cat, a cat, and a cat. And I have a chick, and 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 a chick. Do you know, scorekeepers? That's right. Alfred has less cats than I have chicks. So mark one line for me. All right? Here we go. Now, well, I have a chick, a chick, a chick, a chick, a chick, a chick, a chick. And Alfred has a cat, and 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 a cat. Right. Alfred has more cats than I have chicks, so draw another line for Alfred. Now, let's see. Who has more? Who has less? Scorekeepers, what do you say?
There's a cat for every chick. There's a cat for every pretty little chick.
That's right. The cats and the chicks are equal. We both get a line, and I'll be back in a moment with homework, and also we'll see who won. Did you keep score? Did you keep it very carefully? Well, let's look and see who won. We have to look at our trains. I think that Alfred's train is longer, so he won. Well, maybe I'll win the next time. Now for tomorrow, I'd like you to be sure and have more paper with lines, and we'll have a very special game. Goodbye, and I'll see you then. Hello, this is the middle of your first arithmetic lesson. Did you do your homework and make dots on the sugar cube? That little cube with dots is called a die. Now, you've seen them before. They're used in all sorts of games. But now, Alfred and I are going to play a game with you. Alfred has his die, and I have mine. Have you yours? Good. When I say toss, That means you let your die roll out of your hand and see which side it faces up. Then for each dot on that side, you may take a square or a circle. Are you ready? All right, toss. Well, look, Alfred tossed, got a dot and a dot and a dot and another dot. I tossed, I got a dot and a dot. So Alfred takes a square for each dot. Dot square, dot square, dot square, and dot square. And I take a square for each dot. Dot square, dot square. How many did you toss? Well, take one of your squares for each dot on the side of your die facing up. Good. Now we make a train out of our cutout squares, one behind the other. So remember, a square for each dot, and if you run out of squares, you can always cut some more or use circles, and then add them to your train. Who wins? Why, whoever has the longest train. Alfred beat me. Did you beat Alfred? Have you the same as or more circles and squares than the fingers on one hand? If you do, you win. And you can play this game with your friends. All you have to do is cut out more circles and squares and each make a sugar cube with dots or die. And I'll be back in a moment with your homework. So have your pencil and a clean piece of paper, at least as big as a box of cereal. And put everything else back in your box or paper bag until tomorrow. Ready for your homework? You have a piece of clean paper and your pencil? Well, now look, we're going to make waffle patterns. So first, fold your paper in half, like this. Now fold it in half again, like this. Again, like this, and again. All right? Now, let's open it up. Did you beat me? All right. Now, put it on something like a book or a magazine. Take your pencil, and starting at the top, put a dot in the first box. The next box, a dot and a dot. The next box, a dot, a dot, a dot. The next box, a dot, a dot, a dot, and a dot. And the next box, a dot, a dot, a dot, a dot, a dot. All right? Now, for your homework, make each one of these dots a little square. And save the paper. We'll do more tomorrow. Goodbye. Hi. Did you make the dots into squares on your waffle patterns? Well, we'll make more of them soon, so keep your folded paper handy and your pencil. And now today, I'm going to ask you to answer me out loud, not too loud now. And if you all answer right each time, I'll hear you, because there are so many of you living around this television station. And the first questions are about puppy dogs and chickens. Now, here are some puppies, and right below them are some of our waffle patterns. Now, one of these patterns has a black square for each puppy. And I'll point to one pattern at a time, and when I get to the one that has a square for each puppy, you say, stop. Are you ready? Well, here we go. Is there a square for each puppy here, here, in this box, here, in this box, here? That's right, stop. Here's a square for a puppy, a square for a puppy, and a square for a puppy. Now, let's try the chickens. Look at them. See how many there are? Here we go. Is there a square for each chicken in this box? In this box? In this box? In this? Right. A square for this chick, a square for this chick, a square for this chick, and a square for this chick. My, you were very loud because I heard you all the way over here. Now, here's another question. Here are some pictures. One picture is called A, and one picture is B. Now, which has more? You tell me out loud again. If the A picture has more, say A. If the B picture has more, say B. Are you ready? Which has more baskets, A or B? What? Right. B has more. Which has more balls, A or B? I heard you. B again. Now, which has more butterflies, A or B? Right, A has more. Which has more kites, A or B? Look again. A or B? Right, B. Now later today, go outside with a paper and a pencil and make a dot on the paper for every wheel on Daddy's car. And then make a dot for every wheel on your bicycle and tell Daddy which has more wheels. And I'll be back in a moment to make more waffle patterns, so save your folded paper and have your pencil ready. Now, do you have your folded paper? Remember yesterday we folded the paper about the size of a cereal box in half, then in half again and again and again. Then we unfolded it and we made a dot in the first box, then one more dot, and so on and so on. Well, now for homework, we made the dots into little squares like these. So for homework today, make some more waffle patterns like this. Look at the last box we did. Then copy it in the next box and add another dot. Look again, see the last square we did? And we copy it in the next one, dot, 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 and then one more. It's like building a house. Do some more, and tomorrow we'll finish them. Hello, this is the last part of our first arithmetic lesson. Do you have your piece of paper the size of a cereal box? Is it folded in half, and then in half again, and then again, and again? Fold creases and make little boxes. And yesterday and the day before, we put dots in each box in the form of waffle patterns. And for homework, change the dots to squares neatly. Now let's make some more waffle patterns. Take your pencil and follow along with me. Now remember, we put one dot in the first box and then copied it into the next box and put one more dot in that box, then one more than that in the next box, one more than that in the next, and one more than that in the next. Let's go on. Next box, dot, 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 and one more for dot. Next box, dot, 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 dot. Next box, dot, 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 and one more dot. And the last box, dot, 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 and one more dot. There. Now for homework, finish making all your dots into neat squares like this, and then cut neatly along the fold crease lines so that each box is a separate piece, and they should all be the same size if you folded your paper neatly. Now you can paste them on cardboard if you want to make them strong, and you have a set of waffle cards, and we'll use them a lot in our next arithmetic lesson, and I'll be back in a moment with a song. Now I'd like to sing a little counting song for you, and all you need are your fingers to count on. Count upon your fingers the people that you love. Count them very carefully, the ones you're thinking of. Everyone has just one mommy, she'll take care of you. Everyone has just one daddy, and that makes it two. Count upon your fingers, your brother's next in line. Count your baby sister, she is growing up so fine. And when you go to bed at night and stars are peeping through, count, dear God in heaven, for he counts you. Goodbye. Are you ready for more arithmetic? Do you have your paper with lines and your pencil all ready? Well, today we're going to sing a song about two little boys named Timmy and Fred. Now see if you can keep score on your paper and answer who has more.
Timmy bought cookies that he likes to munch. One is for dinner and one is for lunch.
Fred bought cookies that he thinks are grand. He has one in his mouth and one in his hand.
Let's keep score, let's keep score. Who has more, who has more? Do you think it is Fred? Let's keep score, let's keep score. Who has more, Is it Timmy instead?
All right, did you keep score? Well, now here are Timmy's cookies and here are Fred's cookies. Who has more? We'll see if you're right after the rest of the song. Are you ready again? Because here we go. Keep score now.
Here are the books that Freddie has read. One's on his desk and one's on his bed. One's on the shelf near the door of the shed. And the last one is balanced on top of his head.
Timmy read books that he borrowed in school. One about an ogre so big and cruel. One about a train and one about the sea. And one about the moon and the last about a bee.
Let's keep score, let's keep score. Who has more, Do you think it is Fred? Let's keep score, let's keep score. Who has more, Is it Timmy instead?
Did you keep score? Well, here are Freddie's books and here are Timmy's books. Who has more? And I'll be back in a moment with homework and to see if you have the right answers. Did you keep score? Well, let's look at the answers. Now, the answers are that Timmy and Freddie had the same number of cookies, and Timmy had more books than Fred. Were you right? Now, for homework, I want you to think of all the days in the week, like Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. And Thursday. Maybe Thursday is your birthday. And Friday and Saturday. Then I'd like you to show me with your fingers tomorrow how many days there are in the week. One finger for each day. How many fingers? You see and tell me tomorrow. All right? Goodbye. Hello. Did you do your homework? Show me. How many days in the week? Hold up a finger for each day. Well, let's see. There's a finger for Monday, and there's one for Tuesday, and one for Wednesday, and one for Thursday, and one for Friday, and one for Saturday, and a last one for Sunday. All the fingers on one hand, and another and another. That's right. Good. Now today, the next to the last part of our Arithmetic 2 lesson, we have some picture questions. See if you can answer them before I do. Now, this is a more or less question. First, we will draw a line from each balloon to a girl. All right? Now, is there a balloon for each girl? No. This girl doesn't have a balloon. So are there more girls or more balloons? Well, since one girl doesn't have a balloon, that's right. There are more girls than balloons. Now, let's look at another picture. First, we will draw a line from each boy to a girl. All right? Now, does each boy have a girl partner? Well, this one does. This one does. Yes. Each boy has a girl partner. But does each girl have a boy partner? Well, this girl does. This girl does. This girl does. This girl doesn't. So the answer is no. Each girl does not have a boy partner. Now, are there more boys or more girls? Well, since this girl doesn't have a boy partner, there are more girls, right? Are there fewer girls or boys? What? Fewer means not as many, and that's right. There are not as many boys as there are girls, so there are fewer boys. Now, which has more? Which has more legs, the bird or the dog? Right, the dog. Well, now, which has more wheels, this bike or this one? Right, this one. Now, which has more sides? This, it's called a square, or this, it's called a triangle. Let's see. Now, this square has a side here, and here, and here, and here. And this triangle has a side here, here, and here. That's right. The square has more sides. You did very well, and I'll be back in just a minute to tell you about tomorrow and give you your homework. Tomorrow is the last part of Lesson 2 in arithmetic, and we have a special song with a lot of questions in it. So for homework, you show Mommy or Daddy, holding up your fingers, how many legs there are on a chair or a table, how many legs you have, and tell them which has more and which has less, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Hello. Today is the last part of Arithmetic Lesson 2, and we have a special song. All you need are your fingers to answer the questions. Are you ready? Here we go.
Hold up some fingers and don't say a word.
Dum dum dum.
How many wings will you find on a bird?
Dum 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 dum.
Keep your mouth closed, let your fingers talk. On how many feet does a pussycat walk?
Count on your fingers.
Answer with your fingers now.
Did you hold up your fingers? One for each wing on a bird and one for each pussycat paw? Well, let's see if you were right. Now, did you hold up this many fingers for the wings on a bird? Did you hold up this many fingers for the pussycat's feet? If you did, you were right. Now, here's another part of our song.
How many tails does a dog have to wag?
Dum dum dum.
How many points on the star of the flag?
Dum dum dum.
How many corners are on a square sheet? How many toes do you have on your feet?
Count on your fingers.
Answer with your fingers now.
Did you answer? Well, let's see if you were right. Did you hold up this many fingers for the dog's tail, and this many for the points on a star, and this many for the corners of a sheet, and this many for the toes on your feet? If you did, you were right. Now for the last part of our song. Here we go.
Answer me now without giggles or squeals.
Dum dum dum.
What is the number of bicycle's wheels?
Dum 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 dum.
To answer this question, you don't have to speak. Raising the fingers for the days of the week.
Count on your fingers.
Answer with your fingers now.
Did you answer? Did you hold up this many fingers for the wheels on the tricycle? Did you hold up this many for the days of the week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? If you did, you were right. Now, I'll be back in a moment with some very important homework. I'd like you to get a sheet of paper with no lines about as big as a cereal box. All right? Remember the folded paper we made with the waffle patterns? Do you have one like this? Well, you can make one. Be sure it looks just like this. And then in the first little box, make a dot. Then copy that dot in the next little box and add one more dot. Then copy those dots in the next box, add one more little dot, and so on until you have as many dots as you have fingers on both hands. Then when you're done, make the little dot into a square, and then cut them out and paste them on cardboard. And be ready with your waffle boxes next week. You'll have one waffle box for each finger when you finish, and they'll look like this. and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.